Chapter 384. The depraved pawnshop owner retracted his greedy gaze and said, "This is an occupational hazard. You can't blame me." After saying that, he looked at it seriously this time. "There seems to be something stuck in your ring. What is it?" "That's right. As long as you pull it out, the ring will tighten. You have to use tools," the depraved pawnshop owner said. "What tools? Do you have any here?" "I'm a shoeshine now. What tools can I have?" "The tools are all at home." "Then I'll go back with you to get the tools now. You can just open it for me." The depraved pawnshop owner wouldn't have bothered with her if it weren't for the $50,000. Anyway, his house was not far from here. He stood up, packed up his stall, and brought Tang Bao home. When he reached home, the depraved pawnshop owner found the tools he had packed up and helped her remove the ring. As he worked, he said, "You're quite bold. Aren't you afraid that I'll harm you and snatch the ring back?" "You can harm me. After you harm me, your life won't be easy," Tang Bao said leisurely. The depraved pawnshop owner was so scared that his hands trembled. He just wanted to scare her. Why did she take it so seriously? "If I help you remove the ring, can you let me continue to run the pawnshop?" The depraved pawnshop owner wanted to negotiate with her. "No." "Why? Who asked you to cheat so many people? Serves you right." The depraved pawnshop owner really didn't want to help her, but in the end, he gave in for the $50,000. With the help of the small tools, the ring slowly came off her finger. After it came off, Tang Bao was in a daze. It was as if a sense of loss filled her chest. She thought that this was a habit. It had become a part of her finger. If she took it off now, she would definitely feel uncomfortable for a while. It's really high-tech. If you take it off yourself, you won't be able to take it off in this lifetime. The depraved pawnshop owner turned the ring over and over in his hand. He just couldn't bear to give it to Tang Bao. When Tang Bao saw this, she immediately snatched it over. She said, "You can only look at things that don't belong to you. Otherwise, I won't even clean shoes for you in the future." That was too cruel. This was forcing him to his death. Tang Bao gave the depraved pawnshop owner 50,000 yuan and left. In fact, Tang Bao didn't want to stay alone in the Tang family either. It would only make him more and more depressed. She knew that she would be the only one celebrating the new year this year. She could go to Wan Malay's house, but wouldn't it be too pitiful for a married person to go to someone else's house for the new year? Therefore, she decided to travel for the new year. She would come back after the new year. At the very least, he wouldn't feel so bad in his heart, right? After returning home, he held the ring and looked at it for a long time. He already knew how precious the ring was. She did not expect that Di Haotian would resort to such means to prevent her from getting it. It was truly unimaginable. However, could Di Haotian, who was with Lan Wanru at this moment, still remember what he had done? Did she know that he was the one who tampered with the ring? He had probably forgotten about it long ago. Tang Bao put the ring into the drawer and closed it. Then, he packed his luggage. Where to? Forget it, he would go wherever he went. Anyway, he had never traveled in his life. He would just take it as going out to see the world. Moreover, there were many people traveling for the new year now, so he wouldn't be lonely. Tang Bao went downstairs and went into the dining room to eat. He glanced at the servant. He didn't say anything. He finished his meal as usual. After eating, Tang Bao stood up and was about to leave the dining room when he said to the servant, "I want to drink milk in the afternoon. Why don't you buy it for me later?" "Okay." The servant was called by Di Haotian. If there was anything wrong with her, Di Haotian would definitely know. It was normal for him to ask the servant to buy things, so there was nothing to be suspicious about. After the servant left, Tang Bao lit incense for Tang Qishan. "Dad, I wanted to accompany you. But I thought that you must be living with my mother and don't need a third wheel like me. So, I'm going to travel for the new year. Isn't your daughter very sensible?" Tang Bao lit the incense and inserted it into the incense burner. Then, He anxiously looked at the black and white photo of Tang Qishan. Dad, if you were still here, would you quarrel with me again? Tang Bao smiled, his eyes hot. I'll be back after the new year. I'll come to see you then. Tang Bao stood in front of the photo of Tang Qishan for almost half an hour before he went upstairs to take his luggage and left the Tang family's villa. Sitting in the taxi, Tang Bao looked at the travel guide he made. He even looked at the map. However, the map was like scribbles in her eyes. There was no order and she couldn't understand it at all. After a long time, he only understood half of it. The taxi followed the route she provided and got on the bus. Her first stop was to go to a tourist area with mountains and rivers. The introduction was very good. Staying in a hotel, with beautiful scenery, you could see the clear river when you opened the window. It was so quiet that it made people yearn for it. Tang Bao yearned for it very much. He didn't feel as sad as when he left. There were quite a lot of people on the bus and there were different routes. This was because there were people getting on and off the bus halfway. Tang Bao sat by the window and wanted to call Wan Malay. This time, he wouldn't make a mistake. Because the last call she received was from Wan Malay, she just had to call back. What's wrong? Let me tell you something. What is it? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Wan Malay asked nervously. It's a good thing. Wan Malay heaved a sigh of relief and then asked excitedly, You and young Master D made up? What are you thinking about? Tang Bao looked at the scenery outside the window. He didn't want to mention Di Haotian, this heartless man, at such a time. What's the good thing? I'm going on a trip. What? When are you going? I'm already on my way. Wan Malay was so shocked that she almost fell off the bed. Why are you going on a trip all of a sudden? You're going alone? Yes, I'm going on a trip for the new year. Tang Bao, you. Wan Malay felt depressed. Tang Bao didn't care. What are you doing? Isn't this good? I want to go out and play. And you don't know, right? There are a lot of people traveling for the new year now. Wan Malay wanted to say that other people traveled for the new year with their whole families, but he was alone. Why didn't you tell me? Why should I tell you? The two of us can go together. Forget it, I want to have some peace and quiet. Tang Bao deliberately said this to Wan Malay on the way. She knew how Wan Malay would react, but she had already decided. Wan Malay didn't want her to be sad alone. Tang Bao understood. Chapter 385. It was just a trip. Before the last syllable of the word Ma disappeared from her mind, the bus jammed twice like a tape and stopped. Why did we stop? It doesn't seem like anyone wants to get on the bus. Sir, why did we stop? The passengers chattered as they walked away. The driver didn't seem to understand either. I'll go down and take a look. After saying that, he went down. After a while, he came back up and said, The bus broke down. You guys can get off. What? It broke down? Then what should we do? That's right. It's so desolate. Where can we get a bus? I'll make a call and get another bus to pick you up, the driver said as he took out his phone to make a call. Tang Bao sat in her seat and looked at the noisy bus gloomily. Wasn't this too unlucky? It was her first trip and her bus broke down halfway? If she had known this would happen, she would have gone out and taken the train. After the call, the driver said, The bus can't come. Why don't you guys wait for my bus to be repaired before we go on the road? Then when will your bus be repaired? A passenger asked. I don't know either, the driver said. How unlucky. If there's a problem with your bus, then don't drive it out. How can you leave us on the road? The passenger didn't buy it. The driver also had a headache. How would I know? Aren't I trapped here too? It's useless to argue with me. You're shirking your responsibility. That's right. Why isn't there a bus coming to pick us up? It's obvious that you want to dispose of us casually. Hearing the noise of the passengers, the driver argued, The bus is still working. How can it come? If it wants to come, it should come at night. If you're happy, then continue to wait. If you're not willing to wait, There's a hotel not far ahead. Stay for the night, and a bus will pass by tomorrow. The driver was not very polite with his words, but other than scolding, the passengers had no other choice. The bus was noisy, and Tang Bao didn't want to stay any longer. Moreover, Tang Bao could also tell the bus couldn't leave for the time being. This for the time being was just a conservative statement. Anyway, Tang Bao was on a trip to look around. It wasn't that she was in a hurry. Therefore, she didn't say anything and got out of the car. After getting off the carriage, she looked at the fertile fields on both sides of the road and felt a little confused. Tang Bao gritted her teeth. She did not believe that she could not find her way when she went out alone. Hence, Tang Bao dragged her suitcase and walked forward alone. After walking for half an hour and still not seeing a hotel, Tang Bao wanted to scold the bus driver. What did he mean by not far away? This not far away was too far away. Tang Bao walked for almost an hour before he saw the hotel by the roadside. It was a road hotel. Tang Bao stood outside the door and looked at the relatively clean yard. She thought about the horror movies she had watched. Was it a bad idea to think about horror movies at this time? She really couldn't walk anymore. Moreover, was she supposed to sleep on the mountain in such cold weather? Therefore, Tang Bao shook off the messy and bloody images in his mind and braced himself to walk into the highway hotel. When he opened the door, the wind chimes rang clearly. It actually had a calming effect on people's minds. "Hello, is this a room?" The receptionist was a man wearing glasses. He looked very friendly. "Yes, it's better." "What do you mean by better? Is it spacious or well-equipped?" the receptionist asked. "If it's spacious." Sorry boss, I don't have much money." "It's better if it's spacious," Tang Bao said. Originally, Tang Bao wanted to say that it was spacious and well-equipped. However, after thinking about it, it was best not to show off her wealth outside, lest she was robbed. Tang Bao was surprised by her own wit. "Okay." The receptionist began to book a room for her. After entering the room, it was a little spacious and clean. However, there was no air conditioning, no shower. She didn't know which era the television was from, but the channel was switched on. The so-called spacious room meant that it was not well equipped. After walking around the room, Tang Bao put her suitcase aside. Forget it, she would stay for the night and leave tomorrow. At this moment, her phone rang. Tang Bao took out her phone and answered. "Hello? Where are you?" Di Haotian, who was holding back his anger, spoke through the phone. Tang Bao was stunned. She didn't expect it to be Di Haotian. Actually, there was no need to be surprised. Di Haotian was so controlling. Even if he didn't want her anymore, she wouldn't have so much freedom. If she didn't know this, would she have sneaked away? If she could see the caller ID on the phone screen clearly, she definitely wouldn't have answered his call. "I'm traveling outside." "Who allowed you to travel alone?" Di Haotian almost growled. "Why can't I travel? I'm bored at home, so I came out." "Don't worry, I won't run away. I'll go back when I have enough fun." "When will you have enough fun?" "After the new year." "Come back now." Tang Bao was unhappy when she heard that overbearing voice. "Why should I go back now? Don't tell me that I don't have the freedom to go out and have fun? You'd better mind your own business. Don't waste your time on me." After that, Tang Bao hung up the phone. Then, he turned off his phone. It was really baffling. Did Lan Wanru make him unhappy? She looked like she was too happy, so she was looking for trouble. Di Haotian called Tang Bao again, but the phone was turned off. He was so angry that he punched the car door. The car shook. The driver and He Ju in front didn't dare to breathe. The only person who could make Di Haotian so angry was Tang Bao. The car stopped at the Tang family's house. Di Haotian got out of the car with a cold face. When he saw the trembling servant inside, his eyes were fierce. "Don't you know that she went out? What role do you play here?" "I'm sorry. Young madam said that she wanted milk and asked me to buy it. I went and couldn't see her when I came back." Di Haotian suppressed the anger in his heart. Tang Bao was obviously trying to sneak out. He walked to Tang Qishan's memorial tablet. The incense in the incense burner had already burned out. Di Haotian turned and went to Tang Bao's room on the second floor. He opened the door. The room was neat and tidy. The bed was still collapsed on the ground. The air in the room seemed to still be filled with Tang Bao's scent. However, it was so cold. The suitcase was no longer there. The clothes were also taken away. Di Haotian opened the drawer. His dark eyes narrowed. The pink diamond was lying there quietly. Di Haotian took out the pink diamond. His expression was so ugly that it was indescribable. She actually took it out again. What did she want to do? Did she want to leave? Did she want to leave him? Did he agree? Di Haotian went down the stairs. Ju came up. Looking for someone. Just these two words. It was full of hostility and coldness. Chapter 386. Tang Bao felt that she was really suffering. It became especially cold at night. She had been under the blanket for a long time. Her feet were still cold. Tang Bao couldn't take it anymore. She lifted the blanket and got out of bed. She wanted to ask the boss for a hot water bag. Otherwise, a hot water bottle would do as well. Otherwise, how could she sleep tonight? She was here to travel freely, not to suffer. However, just as she was about to turn the corner and walk to the front desk, she saw someone walking in. When she saw that person, Tang Bao immediately squatted down. Why was Ju here? Di Haotian was here? Ju was here, so Di Haotian must not be far away. Tang Bao turned around and ran without thinking. It was too scary. Why did it have to be like this? Couldn't they let her catch her breath? Tang Bao went back to her room, picked up her things, and threw them out of the window. Then, she jumped out of the window and ran away. Fortunately, this was not the second floor. Otherwise, she would not have been able to escape. Excuse me, is this person staying here? Ju showed the photo in his hand to the front desk. The man at the front desk nodded. Yes? Ju's face relaxed. In the room? Yes, she hasn't come out since the room was booked. Take us there, Ju said. They arrived at the door. Ju knocked first. No one answered. Maybe she was asleep. So Ju knocked harder on the door and continued to knock patiently. However, no one answered. Ju frowned slightly, then raised his leg and kicked the door open. There was no one inside. Sure enough, she had run away. Tang Bao dragged her suitcase. She ran down the mountain road and saw a bus coming. She rushed up to intercept it. When the bus stopped, she immediately climbed up. After climbing up, she was a little stunned. Little girl, we told you to go first, but in the end, you still ended up in the same bus as us. One of the passengers laughed at her. Tang Bao did not expect that they were the people on the bus during the day. They had been waiting for the bus all this time? Too awesome. Di Haotian stood on the mountain, his figure darker than the night. Looking at the bus driving away on the main road, his eyes were as deep as the eyes of a beast in the night. Young master, young madam ran away. Ju ran out and said, There's a bus in front. Di Haotian turned around and got on the bus. It would be a piece of cake for Di Haotian's car to catch up with the bus. After the bus was stopped, Di Haotian went up to check it out himself. However, when he went up, all he saw were unfamiliar faces. There was no sign of Tang Bao. The people on the bus were scared out of their wit. They didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Di Haotian's face was terrifyingly dark. He turned around and got out of the car. Only then did the bus dare to leave. Di Haotian looked at the dark night. If it weren't for the car's headlights, everything would have been swallowed by darkness. He was not only angry now, but also worried. Tang Bao must have run here because of him. Since she had just run away and didn't get on the bus, she must be nearby. And other than this road hotel, there was no other place to stay nearby. Tang Bao had her own thoughts, of course. She was supposed to get on the bus. But at the last second she felt that she couldn't get on the bus. With Di Haotian's depth, he would definitely stop the bus. So, she turned around and got out of the bus. Then, she walked up the mountain. Actually, for someone who liked to watch horror movies, she was afraid of the dark, especially in this kind of countryside. So, Tang Bao climbed through the window and entered the road hotel again. She didn't book a room, and she didn't alert the people in the hotel. She hid in the hotel's warehouse. Although it wasn't warm, it was better than being outside, right? That would freeze people to death. Di Haotian couldn't contact Tang Bao on his phone. The people he sent out were still looking for her. He returned to the road hotel again. But the person he was looking for wasn't inside. The man at the front desk saw this man with an extraordinary aura standing there. He didn't dare to say anything. Not long after, the phone in Di Haotian's hand rang. Di Haotian picked it up. When he saw the caller ID, his expression suddenly changed. He answered the call anxiously, and his voice was hoarse. "Where are you? Di Haotian, do you have to force me like this?" Tang Bao asked. "Don't you know that it's not safe for you to go out alone?" Di Haotian suppressed his anger and said to her patiently. Tang Bao heard Di Haotian's question, and her eyes were hot. There was a thin layer of mist in her eyes. She asked softly, "Do you really care if I'm safe or not?" Di Haotian felt suffocated. His breathing was heavy, and he said in a flash, "I do." At this time, he didn't care about the aborted child and betrayal. He only cared about Tang Bao's safety. Tang Bao's answer was, "I don't believe you." Di Haotian's face was tense. He tried to calm her down. "Where do you want to go?" "I'll go with you. I'm in a hotel now." "Where are you?" "Di Haotian, is this the first day I've known you? If you find me, you definitely won't let me have an easy time." Di Haotian thought to himself, "You know me very well. Since you know me, you shouldn't have run out alone." "Di Haotian, you don't have to look for me. You won't be able to find me anyway. I was on the bus just now, but I hid under the chair and a passenger blocked it for me." Di Haotian's expression changed. "You don't have to chase me. By the time you came, I would have changed my route. Di Haotian, can't you just leave me alone? If you keep chasing me like this, I'll only want to hide from you. I've already said that I'll go back after the new year." After saying that, she hung up the phone. Di Haotian called her again, but her phone was turned off again. Tang Bao continued to hide in her small warehouse. Anyway, she had lied to Di Haotian like this. She wouldn't go back with him. Should she go back and continue to watch him and Lan Wanru being lovey-dovey? Or the three of them under the same roof? Di Haotian certainly wouldn't listen to Tang Bao. He wouldn't let her stay outside alone. Absolutely not. Even if he had to dig 3 feet into the ground, he would find her. Wan Malay had just gotten out of bed and was about to go grocery shopping with her mother. She didn't know where Tang Bao was now. She called her last night, but she couldn't get through. She was worried the whole night. After all, it was Tang Bao's first time traveling. What if something happened? Also, why wasn't her phone turned on? Therefore, she didn't sleep well the whole night. Her head was groggy. Just as she finished washing up, she heard someone ring the doorbell. Wan Malay walked out of the room. "Mom, who's here so early in the morning?" Before she could finish her sentence, Wan Malay was shocked when she saw the person who walked in. She stood still at the door of her room. Wan Malay's mother didn't seem to know. She asked, "May I know who you're looking for?" After Di Haotian walked in, his sharp black eyes looked around the room, including Wan Malay's parents. His aura was intimidating. Chapter 387. But it's okay. You know them? I know them. More than that. Then you go and greet the guest. We'll be back soon. Wan Malay's parents were honest people. They didn't know the danger. It wasn't easy for Wan Malay to send her parents away. She closed the door and looked at the tall figure standing by the window. She called out carefully, "Young master." When Di Haotian turned around, Wan Malay's knees almost gave way and she knelt on the ground. "You have a good relationship with Tang Bao. So good that you're willing to give up your life for him?" Di Haotian asked with uncertainty. "If Tang Bao is in trouble, I will." "Including your parents?" Was that the main point? Although she had seen Di Haotian before because of the Tang Bao, it was her first time facing him face to face. She couldn't bear his aura at all. Coupled with what he said, Wan Milei felt her hair stand on end. I confess, that medicine really has nothing to do with me. I didn't give Tang Bao the medicine. I didn't know about it. After Wan Milei said that, she silently felt guilty toward Tang Bao. Tang Bao, I'm sorry. I can give up my life for you, but my parents are innocent. Di Haotian's face suddenly darkened. What did you say? What medicine? Wan Milei cursed in her heart. Didn't he come here because of this? My patience is limited. Tell me clearly. Di Haotian took 2 steps forward. The aura all over his body seemed to have expanded. It was dark and terrifying. I'll tell you. I didn't give Tang Bao the medicine to abort the child. I didn't give Tang Bao that medicine, Wan Milei said. That's all? Di Haotian looked at her maliciously. No, that's all, Wan Milei said. She was terrified. Should he say it or not? She was really in a difficult position. In other words, you don't want your parents' lives anymore, right? Di Haotian didn't rush her anymore. Instead, he calmed down. However, the more it was like this, the more terrifying it was. Wan Milei couldn't take it. That Tang Bao said that if I told her, she would cut ties with me. As Wan Milei was speaking, she saw Di Haotian's violent gaze. She was so frightened that she blurted out, "That drug was given to her by your mother." After Wan Milei finished speaking, he wondered if he would cause any serious consequences. She felt that if this was the era of the Republic of China, she would definitely be the kind of lackey that could be recruited without torture. Di Haotian was stunned. His whole body was stiff as he stared at Wan Milei with his black eyes. Beside him, He Ju was also stunned, because it was too unexpected. Your mother gave it to me. Actually, this matter is a little complicated. Back then, your mother didn't like Tang Bao and didn't want her to give birth to a child of the Di family. So, she asked a servant to put birth control pills in the bird's nest soup that Tang Bao ate every day. After taking it for a week, Tang Bao became pregnant. Moreover, the child was already a month old. In other words, the child was already pregnant when the drug was administered. After taking birth control pills for a week, the child definitely couldn't be kept. So, in order to cover up the truth, your mother asked Tang Bao to abort the child without permission. Tang Bao was in the castle at that time. How could it be so easy to abort the child? Your mother gave her the abortion pill. Why didn't she say anything? Di Haotian's face was as cold as ice. His words were hoarse from the impact of such a fact. Because Tang Bao said that she didn't want you to hate your mother. She was afraid that one day you would be like her and regret it when you lose your family. Young Master Di, Tang Bao cares a lot about her marriage with you. If she was a selfish person, she wouldn't have rather you hate her than tell the truth and make you sad. Di Haotian's face was cold and stiff. He left Wan Milei's house without saying a word. When he walked out of the door, he lost control and tripped on the threshold. Young Master Di. He Ju was startled. Di Haotian didn't say anything and walked out. Back at the castle, Di Haotian stood in the hall. Suddenly, the entire castle became a few degrees colder. Lien walked forward and said cautiously, Young Master Di, during Tang Bao's pregnancy, did any servants leave their jobs? Di Haotian's face was expressionless. Yes. One was fired by young Master Di, and the other was Zhou Lihua. She said that something happened at home. Zhang Li, who was a few steps away, thought of something and said, At that time, young madam also asked if any servants left their jobs. When Di Haotian looked over, she shut her mouth. She felt that she had said too much. After all, young madam had been kicked out by young Master Di. Did she ask? Di Haotian asked. Zhang Li saw that Di Haotian's expression didn't change, so she said, She asked if any servants in the castle had resigned. I replied that Zhou Lihua had resigned. Did she ask anything else? That's all. Zhang Li thought for a while and said, Di Haotian stood there without moving, and the others didn't dare to move either. After a long while, Di Haotian said, "Go and find that B***tch for me?" "Yes." He Ju turned around and left. Di Haotian didn't go anywhere. He just sat on the sofa and waited. Until Zhou Lihua was brought back. When Zhou Lihua saw the person sitting on the sofa, she was so scared that her face turned pale and she almost couldn't stand. "I asked you a question, so you have to answer honestly. Do you understand?" Di Haotian looked at Zhou Lihua lazily. However, the atmosphere was particularly scary. "Yes, you drugged young madam?" Old madam asked me to do it. She said that no one would know. After I did it, old madam gave me money and then I left. Young Master D, it's not my fault, it's not my fault." Zhou Lihua cried out. "Money? Do you like money that much? I'm afraid that you don't have the life to spend it." Di Haotian waved his hand as if he was treating trash. "Beat her to death." Zhou Lihua was so scared that she forgot to cry. "Young Master D, spare me. Old madam asked me to do it. It wasn't me." No matter how much Zhou Lihua begged for mercy, she was still dragged out. Di Haotian sat on the sofa. His whole body was filled with a gloomy and sullen aura. No one dared to go near him. At that time, Tang Bao already knew that there was something wrong with the child. She was investigating who drugged her to confirm the truth of the matter. She even went to the doctor to ask about the abortion. He thought that Tang Bao didn't want their child. He didn't even want to think about it. If it wasn't because of Di Junbai, why did Tang Bao abort the child? When he asked her why she wanted to abort the child, she chose to remain silent. Di Haotian was angry at her silence. She would rather be hated by him and treated mercilessly by him than say anything. This was the truth. This was the truth. Chapter 388. Zhongli, who was not far away, looked at Di Haotian and was shocked. She couldn't believe what Zhou Lihua said just now. So it wasn't young madam who aborted the child, but old madam? And young madam had been enduring it all by herself? This was too pitiful. At this moment, the phone in the hall rang, which made people feel even more stressed. This seemed to be a good thing, but it didn't seem like it. It made the pressure on his heart even heavier. Lien hesitated for a moment and walked over to answer the phone. "This is T. Castle, who is this?" After a moment of silence, Lien looked at Di Haotian and replied, "Yes, okay." The call was from Yu Songhuan. This really wasn't a good time, especially after the hidden truth was exposed. However, he still had to tell Di Haotian about the phone call. Therefore, Lien walked towards Di Haotian and stopped not far away. "Young master, if you have something to say, just say it. Don't hesitate." Di Haotian's face was cold. "Old madam. She wants you to go over for Christmas." Di Haotian's dark eyes were so cold that the bottom couldn't be seen. In the extremely oppressive atmosphere, he said, "In the future, just say that I don't have time." After speaking, he stood up and left the castle. Lien and everyone present naturally knew what that meant. The young Master D was furious. When the oppressive atmosphere in the hall dissipated, Zhongli asked Lien with joy, "Director, the misunderstanding has been resolved. Young madam didn't intentionally abort the child. Does that mean that young madam can come back?" Lien glanced at Zhongli and didn't say anything. Zhongli didn't understand. "What do you mean? Can't she come back?" Looking at young master's expression, it seems that he won't blame young madam anymore? "I'm afraid young madam won't be willing to come back," Lien said with great insight. Zhongli thought about it and felt that it made sense. At that time, young Master D went overboard. "Needless to say, I know how sad young madam is," Zhongli said gloomily, but then his face relaxed. "But I think the young master is so powerful. Young madam will come back eventually." Lien sighed. "Yes, he will come back eventually." He still had to call back to the bungalow. Tang Bao felt that he was simply too amazing. To be able to slip away under Di Haotian's nose. And he was walking further and further away. When she thought about the shocked expression on the receptionist's face when she came out of the warehouse, she wanted to laugh. Tang Bao was really too tired at that time, but he did not care about his expression and did not really want to explain. She didn't steal anything anyway. He left just like that. Presumably, the man at the front desk must have known that she was the person Di Haotian was looking for. After all, there was such a big commotion last night. He Ju was also brought to her room by the receptionist. How could he not know? When Tang Bao thought of Di Haotian, his expression changed slightly and his heart sank. Why didn't he let her go on a trip? He sounded like he was very worried about her. But she just didn't believe it. Di Haotian cared about Lan Wanru. Perhaps after the new year, the divorce agreement would be in her hands. Why did Tang Bao want to go on a trip alone? Perhaps he also had the consciousness to escape. Although she knew that she would have to go back sooner or later, she did not want to think about that now. When she left the house, she also made up her mind not to think about Di Haotian. She was just playing with herself, wasn't she? Why add more to her heart? If something was going to happen eventually, she would not be able to escape. She might as well live a carefree life one day at a time. When Di Junbai returned home, his expression and mood were not too good. He did not even notice the people who walked past him. Liu Huai frowned and pulled Di Junbai over. "Didn't you see me? You look distracted. What's wrong? Where's your father?" Di Junbai came back to his senses and saw that it was Liu Huai. He relaxed and said, "Dad has a social engagement. He won't be back for dinner tonight." "What's wrong with you? Did something happen?" Liu Huai asked. "I'm fine. Do you look fine? Are you still trying to hide it from me? Your father doesn't tell me anything. You don't tell me anything either. Do you think I'm just a decoration in the house? Tell me about it and let Mom help you." Di Junbai looked a little downcast and worried. "Tang Bao went on a trip. I'm very worried. I'm wondering if I should go and look for her." "Tang Bao went on a trip? With who?" Liu Huai looked at Di Junbai's expression and guessed. "She's alone?" Di Junbai was silent for a moment and said, "If Tang Bao and I get together one day, I hope you can accept it. You like her that much?" Liu Huai was surprised. Di Junbai didn't say anything and walked to the study. However, his expression said everything. Liu Huai didn't have to worry about Di Junbai's emotions, because Di Junbai had never made her worry since they were young. Especially when it came to his private affairs, he was always well behaved. Even if there was the whole unruly Tang Bao incident, Liu Huai didn't have to worry too much. The only thing she was thinking about now was why Tang Bao went on a trip alone. Was Di Haotian willing to go? Was he going on a trip or something else? Liu Huai went to Lan Wanru's room excitedly. Lan Wanru was fixing the flowers and plants on the balcony. The glass windows on the balcony were all closed and there was a heater inside. If it wasn't, no matter how beautiful the flowers and plants were, they would freeze to death in the winter. "Wanru." Liu Huai walked into the room. "Auntie, why are you so happy?" Lan Wanru put down the scissors and asked. "Let me tell you something good." "What is it?" "Tang Bao ran away from home." "What? Ran away from home?" Lan Wanru thought of something and said, "Hasn't she never lived in the castle? Living in the Tang family doesn't count as running away from home." "It's not that." "Then what is it?" "Your brother said that Tang Bao went on a trip alone. We don't know when she'll be back. Does this mean that she knows that she won't be the young master's wife for long, so she's just going for broke?" Liu Huai asked with joy. Lan Wanru was also happy about Tang Bao's behavior, but after thinking about it, he asked, "What about Brother Haotian? What does he think? Does he not care?" "I think so. Otherwise, Tang Bao wouldn't go on a trip alone. What do you think?" "That's not necessarily true. Tang Bao has always been scheming. If she really wants to go on a trip without Brother Haotian's knowledge, it's not impossible. Especially recently, Brother Haotian's mood has been particularly depressed. It's normal that he doesn't notice. When he finds out, he'll definitely go to Tang Bao, Lan Wanru said with a frown. You don't have to worry about that. Auntie will help you ask around. Liu Huai's so-called asking around was going to the bungalow. In the bungalow, Yu Songhui was also in a bad mood. Chapter 389. What was she busy with? She didn't even have time to eat? Sister-in-law, I'm here to see you. Liu Huai giggled as she entered the house. Yu Songhui had a perfunctory smile on his face. Every time the people from Di Ling's in-laws came, they had a purpose. Of course she knew. However, it wasn't a bad thing to be able to say something that she didn't know. Have a seat. Okay. Liu Huai sat down. I haven't come to see you for a few days. Sister-in-law's complexion is really getting better and better. Even sister-in-law Wang felt that these words were strange. What did she mean by not coming to see her complexion was getting better and better? If she came to see her often, would her complexion not look good? She really didn't know how to speak. However, Yu Songhui didn't show it. If Liu Huai was smart, why didn't she have any status in the Di family? With you guys thinking about me every day, my complexion will definitely be better, Yu Songhui said with a smile. However, I came today to tell sister-in-law something. Sister-in-law's mood will be even better. What is it? Tang Bao ran away from home. Yu Songhui paused in his action of drinking tea. What did you say? It's true. She said that she was going on a trip. Actually, she was angry and ran away from home. Yu Songhui's expression changed. Even sister-in-law Wang, who was standing behind him, deliberately looked at Yu Songhui. Haotian knows, right? Yu Songhui's words weren't a question. How can I not know? Sister-in-law has always disliked Tang Bao. Now that she's gone, it's even better. It's best if she never comes back, Liu Huai said happily. Yu Songhuan did not like the Tang Bao, but when someone else said it, he also felt very uncomfortable. Yu Songhuan's expression changed. Liu Huai thought it was because of the Tang Bao and not because of her inappropriate words, so she continued to say, Sister-in-law, if Haotian doesn't care about this matter after knowing about it, it means that he has already given up on the Tang Bao. Tang Bao had only himself to blame. Who was Haotian? Who dared to put on airs in front of him? She's really spoiled and arrogant. To think that Haotian used to love her so much. That's enough. Yu Songhuan interrupted her impatiently. Liu Huai choked. You can go back. I'm a little tired. Yu Songhuan acted as if he didn't see Liu Huai's stiff face and directly asked her to leave. All right then. Sister-in-law, you should rest first. I'll come and see you next time. Liu Huai didn't dare to say anything more. Even though she was very unhappy, she still stood up with a smile on her face and left. After Liu Huai left, Yu Songhuan couldn't maintain the perfunctory expression on his face and slammed the cup on the coffee table. Seeing this, sister-in-law Wang said, Old madam, what's wrong with you? Be careful of your hand hurting. What's wrong? Didn't you hear what Liu Huai said? What did Lian say on the phone? He said that Haotian has been busy recently and didn't have time to come over for Christmas. I think it's not that he doesn't have time, but that he spends all his time on the Tang Bao. Old madam, maybe the young master is really busy. After all, he's in charge of such a big tea. You don't have to comfort me. If I can't see through this, then I'm too useless. He still can't let go of the Tang Bao. No matter how much the Tang Bao hurts him. When he heard that the Tang Bao went on a trip alone, how can he sit still? If I asked you to ask around, you would definitely think the same as me. Sister-in-law Wang was speechless. She really couldn't be sure of Di Haotian's behavior. Moreover, in the past, she would only come back to eat with Yu Songhuan during the holidays. But she didn't come back this year. This was definitely not something that could be brushed off because he was busy. But if Di Haotian didn't want to come, then there was nothing they could do. Di Junbai was in the study room and kept calling the Tang Bao. His phone was turned off the entire time. Why was his phone turned off? Did he not want to be disturbed by anyone? There was a knock on the study door. The person who came in was Di Lingyue. "You're not eating?" Only then did Di Junbai realize that it was time for dinner. "Who are you calling?" Di Lingyue saw the phone in Di Junbai's hand and asked. Perhaps he was well aware of it. "Did you get through?" "No. The Tang Bao is not a big person, but he has a bad temper. I don't know if this is a good thing for Di Haotian." Di Lingyue's words were filled with mockery. To Di Lingyue, the strong shouldn't have any weaknesses and shouldn't be affected by anything. He felt that Di Haotian didn't do well in this aspect. To him, Di Haotian's bad was good. Because in the past, Di Haotian was too strong. He was the kind of person that couldn't be pierced through by any kind of spear. The Tang Bao is really too sad. It's just the loss of a child. What's there to be sad about? So sad that they want to divorce? Di Lingyue snorted. They don't want to divorce, Di Junbai corrected. Anyway, no matter whether they want to divorce or not, you're not allowed to get involved. Wanru can marry Di Haotian, but the Tang Bao can't be with you, Di Lingyue said. Then, without caring about Di Junbai's expression, he stood up and left. Di Junbai's expression changed. His expression was solemn. It was normal that she couldn't get through to the Tang Bao's phone. Even if she turned on her phone now, there wouldn't be any signal. She didn't even know where she had walked into the depths of the forest. Didn't they say that it was a tourist attraction with mountains and rivers? Alright, there were mountains and rivers. The Tang Bao walked and stopped. She was exhausted. She even had to eat for a day and tomorrow. But it seemed to be a tourist attraction. There were even people setting up stalls. The Tang Bao squatted down beside the stall and sat on a rock. There was an old lady beside the stall. She looked about 60 years old and wore an old-fashioned knitted hat. Her face was full of wrinkles, but she had a kind gaze. She was selling some snacks and egg pancakes. The fragrance wafted over. The Tang Bao was about to stand up and buy one when she saw an egg pancake placed in front of her. "You must have been hungry for a long time. I saw you swallowing your saliva. Have one," the old lady said. The Tang Bao was stunned. She thought that the old lady really knew how to do business. She even saw her swallowing her saliva? "It's okay. I won't take your money." Why? Take it?" The old lady stuffed the warm egg pancake into her hand. The warm egg pancake spread in her palms and warmed her heart. The old lady must have thought that she had no money. That was why she did this. The Tang Bao wanted to say that she had money. But looking at the old lady's loving gaze, she didn't say anything and ate the egg pancake. It was really delicious. It smelled good and tasted even better. "I've been cooking here for decades. No one has said that it's not delicious," the old lady said with a smile. "Thank you. It's really delicious." The Tang Bao's mouth was stuffed with food. She had mixed feelings. Chapter 390. She was too pitiful. She was too useless. Traveling had turned her into a beggar. Tang Bao quickly ate the egg pancake. "Do you still want to eat?" "No, I'm full." Tang Bao shook her head. "Look at how skinny you are. I know you don't eat much." Tang Bao wanted to say that although she was skinny, she could really eat a lot. She could not stop eating the whole day. However, she was afraid that if she said that she still wanted to eat, the old lady would continue not to accept her money. "You're a foreigner, right? Are you here for a vacation?" "Yes, a vacation." "Was your money stolen?" the old lady asked again. "The scenery here is good, but there are thieves here. Many people have their money stolen. I've seen many of them." Tang Bao looked at the old lady and panicked. She asked, "Are there many?" "Yes, you have to be careful." "I will. Thank you." As the two of them were chatting, it began to snow. "It's snowing?" Tang Bao was as happy as if she had discovered a new world. She reached out and let the snowflakes fall under her hand. Then, they slowly melted. "It's snowing. I won't set up the stall. I'm going back." After the old lady finished speaking, she began to pack her things. Tang Bao immediately went over to help her pack. "Hey, it's okay. I can do it myself. It's okay. I ate one of your pancakes just now. I'm sorry. Just let me pack. The old lady smiled and did not say anything. She let her go and pack. However, it seemed that she did not know how to pack, but the old lady did not say anything. After everything was packed, the old lady pushed the cart and said, I'm leaving. Okay, go back quickly. The road will be slippery when the snow is heavy. Where do you stay? Is there a hotel here? There are only homestays here, no hotels. In the end, Tang Bao stayed at the old lady's house. Because tourists also stayed at the old lady's house. Therefore, there was a special room. Although the things were very ordinary, it was still complete. There was also enough heating, so Tang Bao would not be so cold that he had nowhere to go. The old lady was the only one staying at the old lady's house. He said that his children were working outside and would only come back once every 2 or 3 years because the journey was too far. Tang Bao asked the old lady why she did not live with her children. The old lady said that she didn't want to burden the young people. This was really a kind-hearted old man. Tang Bao stayed there. There were mountains and rivers, but there was no house by the river for her to live in. However, she felt very satisfied. The Tang Bao's mobile phone could not be used, and the game could not be played. The mobile phone here was as good as useless. However, the old lady had a phone at home. Tang Bao stared at the phone in a daze, wondering if he should call Wan Malay. After thinking about it, he decided to drop the idea. She didn't want Wan Malay to call her and ask her to go back for the new year again. Tang Bao went to the kitchen to help. Grandma, what are we having for lunch? What do you like to eat? I'll make it for you, the old lady said with a smile. Tang Bao looked at the smile on the old lady's face and asked, Grandma, you seem to be very happy. Are you this happy every time a tourist comes to stay? Yes. I've lived here alone for a long time. It's livelier when tourists come. Tang Bao felt a little jealous when he heard that. Thinking of the past, no matter how much she and her father quarreled, she would still go back to visit him at some point. Because she would miss him too. It was just that she was unwilling to admit it at that time. Grandma's situation was like this. Wouldn't her children regret it in the future? You want to come out to play for a few days? It's almost the new year. You have to go back to reunite with your parents, the old lady said. My parents have passed away. I don't have any relatives. The old lady stopped kneading the dough and looked at her sadly. So, I'm going to stay here for the new year. Grandma, will you be unhappy? Of course not. You can stay here whenever you want. After Tang Bao settled down in his residence, Di Haoyan was digging 3 feet into the ground to look for him. However, no matter how hard he searched, he could not find Tang Bao. Moreover, Di Haoyan knew that Tang Bao was not sightseeing in a big city. If it were a big city, he would be able to find Tang Bao in less than a day. However, the place where Tang Bao went to was a remote place. He spread out and searched along the route of the highway hotel last time, but he still could not find any trace of Tang Bao. If Tang Bao was deliberately hiding, it would be even more difficult to find him. However, Di Haoyan did not give up and stepped up the search. However, the closer it was to the end of the year, the more Di Haoyan could not stay calm. He did not want Tang Bao to spend the new year alone outside. He would not allow it and he could not stand it. Di Haoyan walked into the bedroom. The crystal wolf puppy was still hanging on the lamp on the bedside table. Every night, he did not know how many times he stroked it. He missed the way she was by his side. He missed the way she bit him. He missed how cute she was. Why did he suspect her intentions? Di Haoyan had to admit that it was because he was too jealous and lost his judgment. During the Cold War with Tang Bao, Di Haoyan did not know that he would be so irritable. A tall figure stood in front of the window. Looking out, there was a whole field of colorful roses. Di Haoyan turned around and went down. When he walked to the roses, he found that a few of them were withering. Di Haoyan's face immediately became gloomy. Someone. He Ju immediately walked forward. Young master. No withered roses are allowed to appear. Yes. Ju immediately asked someone to change them. Withering seemed to imply some kind of meaning, so they could not appear. There would never be such a day. Because he would not allow it. After the roses were dealt with, Di Haotian left. He never returned to the castle. He only took the crystal wolf puppy with him. When Yu Songhuan came to the castle, it was cold inside. It was as if the castle had been abandoned and could no longer find its warmth. Where's Haotian? Yu Songhuan asked Lian. The young master went out? I've been here for a few days. You've already told everyone. Is he not coming back? Yu Songhuan's face did not look too good. The young master has been very busy recently. He doesn't have time to come back at night. Lian said. I heard that Tang Bao ran away from home? Haotian went to look for someone, right? Yu Songhuan pretended to be calm and asked. We servants are not allowed to ask about the master's affairs, so we don't know the whereabouts of the young master. Yu Songhuan knew Lian's sincerity, but she could not tell if he really did not know or if he was pretending not to know. What happened in the castle recently? Yu Songhuan asked. Nothing happened. Lian said. No? Why did I hear that Tang Bao ran away from home? Yu Songhuan asked. It's like this. The young madam doesn't live in the castle, but she didn't run away from home either. She lives in the Tang family, Lian said. Yu Songhuan's face was a little pale. Chapter 391. However, she could only beat around the bush. In private, she wanted to find out from the other servants. However, for some reason, everyone said that they didn't know. It was as if something was hidden from her. But she couldn't find out. Now, it was very difficult for her to even see Di Haotian. Did Haotian go to look for the Tang Bao? I'm sorry, old madam. I don't know. Yu Songhuan's expression almost stiffened. He was so angry that Lian was neither servile nor overbearing. He stood up and left. Yu Songhuan wasn't the only one who came to look for Di Haotian. Lan Wanru also came. However, she was stopped outside the castle, and was not allowed to enter. Because Di Haotian had said before that she was not allowed to enter without his permission. So it was true. When it was time to put it into practice, Lan Wanru realized how much her heart hurt. For the sake of the Tang Bao, she could do anything. However, if love could be exchanged with humility, she was willing. Therefore, Lan Wanru stood outside the door and waited. She waited from dawn to dusk, but Di Haotian didn't return. Miss Biao, let's go back. You haven't eaten for a day. If you hurt your body, the gains won't make up for the losses, Belle persuaded. Do you think Brother Haotian will look at me if he knows that I hurt my body because of him? Lan Wanru asked uncomfortably. He will definitely. But the young master isn't here now. He won't be able to see you hurt your body. Why does Tang Bao exist? Why does Brother Haotian have to be Tang Bao? Why? Lan Wanru cried as she finished speaking. Then, she collapsed. Belle was so scared that she shouted, Miss Biao? In the hall, the servant said to Zhongli, Miss Lan fainted outside the door. Has she been sent back? Not yet. I was just about to ask the supervisor what to do about this matter. The servant said and was about to leave. He was stopped by Zhongli, who said, What's the point of notifying the supervisor? Go and tell them to send him to the hospital. We don't have a doctor here. Yes? The servant left immediately after she finished speaking. Zhongli didn't want Lan Wanru to enter the castle again. Besides, she wasn't wrong. Where did the doctor come from in the castle? Wouldn't that delay Lan Wanru's recovery? After returning home, Lan Wanru gradually woke up. Belle fed her the medicine that she had brewed. Liu Huai was so annoyed that his heart was about to break. What's wrong with you? Not only did you go to the castle, but you also damaged your body. Is it worth it? I know that if Brother Haotian wants to take a look at me, even if I have to fall sick, I'm willing. But Belle said Haotian isn't here. Where did he go? Did he go to look for the Tang Bao? Is he not coming back if the Tang Bao doesn't come back? Lan Wanru grabbed Li Yuhuai's hand and asked anxiously. This? I don't think so? Li Yuhuai didn't know whether he was saying this to himself or Lan Wanru. She really wasn't sure. Yes, it can't be. It's almost the new year. He can't be outside, Lan Wanru said to comfort himself. However, after Christmas, Di Haotian didn't come back. For a long time, Di Haotian didn't appear. It was as if the Tang Bao wasn't the only one who disappeared. Di Haotian was also missing. Di Haotian was now looking for the Tang Bao and finding a place to stay. He didn't care about the environment. Besides, in the remote countryside, no one knew him. It was the kind of place where money couldn't be used. In the most ordinary hotel, no one knew that the king of D City, who changed the weather of D City, lived here. What Di Haotian did every day was to look for someone. Other than looking for someone, Di Haotian stood motionless by the window. The sky outside had already darkened. Ju walked into the room and looked at the motionless figure with his back facing him. He said hesitantly, "Young master, there's no trace of young madam. How many days until the new year?" 5 days. You must find her before 5 days, no matter what the price is. Di Haotian's black eyes were filled with crazy persistence. Yes, Ju answered. But in his heart, he wasn't optimistic. He didn't know if the Tang Bao deliberately went to such a remote place with no signal. They had no other choice but to search inch by inch like they were turning the ground upside down. However, he would do his best to find her. He hoped that the Tang Bao would sense Di Haotian's eagerness and appear on his own. However, this possibility was slim. He had witnessed the conflict between the two of them back then. The one who couldn't accept such a truth the most was Di Haotian. He would probably rather hope that the Tang Bao would abort the child on his own accord. Because Di Haotian could forgive the Tang Bao, but he couldn't forgive himself. At that time, Ju saw Di Haotian's painful expression every day and knew that even if the Tang Bao did something wrong, he would forgive him. Sooner or later. However, the truth had changed, and it had developed to a point that was unbelievable. In the evening, the Tang Bao was sitting at the table with the old grandma for dinner. The Tang Bao felt that the old grandma's cooking was very delicious. Because the old grandma's vegetables were all planted by herself, they had a pure and natural taste. "Grandma, I don't want to leave even if I stay here," the Tang Bao said as he ate. She felt like a foodie. "Then don't leave," the old grandma said with a smile. The wrinkles on her face were especially kind. The Tang Bao looked very kind. It was as if she had a family member. However, she also knew that she was only staying here temporarily. She still had to go back after a year. There were people she was familiar with there, the company that Tang Qishan left for her, and the sentence that awaited Di Haotian. She needed to be there. "I'll make you old hen soup tomorrow." No. The Tang Bao refused. "Don't you like chicken?" "No. Apart from Grandma, I'm closest to the chicken in the yard. I don't want to eat it." "You're such a kind child. You must be a blessed person," the old grandma said. "Is there such a saying?" The Tang Bao was curious. "Yes," the old grandma said. "Then Grandma is also a blessed person." The Tang Bao was telling the truth. Who would be willing to give an egg pancake to a stranger for free? In the place where she grew up, those people would not be willing to suffer even a little bit. The old grandma was very happy to hear Tang Bao's words and kept urging the Tang Bao to eat. After eating, the Tang Bao rushed to wash the dishes. In the beginning, the old grandma did not allow it, but the Tang Bao insisted, so the old grandma let her do it. So now, the old grandma cooked and she washed the dishes. When it was time to sleep at night, the Tang Bao lay on the bed in a daze. Unknowingly, she had been out for so long. When she first lived here, she would still miss people and things, and would also write about Di Haotian. But every time she thought about it, her heart would ache and she wanted to cry. Chapter 392. She hated Di Haotian for marrying her and not letting her marry Di Junbai. If she married Di Junbai, there wouldn't be so many problems. When she thought about how Di Haotian ignored her, brought a woman back to the castle, and was intimate with Lan Wanru, she felt that she was about to die from anger. But what could she do? She couldn't win against Di Haotian. In the end, she fell asleep as she thought about it. After that, Tang Bao didn't think much about it anymore. Perhaps he knew that it was useless to think about it. He had to learn to give up. Tang Bao felt that he was not a wishy-washy person. He slept all the way until daybreak. Tang Bao's problem was that he couldn't get up in the morning. It was a problem that he had developed in the past. He thought about waking up in the morning to make breakfast for his grandmother. However, every time he thought about waking up early, he would find that breakfast was already on the table. Grandma brought the noodles to the table. When she saw Tang Bao get up, she said, "Eat noodles in the morning." Tang Bao stared at the noodles in a daze. He thought of the assorted noodles he ate in the castle, and was in a daze. While eating, Tang Bao asked, "Grandma, are you going out to set up the stall today?" "Yes." "Then I'll go with you." "No need. It's not too far away. I'll go by myself. I have nothing to do at home. Let me go." Tang Bao really had nothing to do. He just stayed at home every day to talk to the small animals. But she hoped that she could help more. "Okay, go if you want to." After breakfast, they went to set up the stall when it was almost noon. Because Grandma said that there would be no one in the tourist area if it was too early. But Tang Bao felt that there would be no one even from afternoon to night. There were very few people. They only sold more than 10 yuan in a day. But the old granny was very energetic. "Grandma, are there any towns nearby?" Tang Bao asked. "Yes." "Then we can go to the town to sell. There must be more people there." "I'm alone and I'm old. I can't go so far. You used to be alone, but now you have me." "Grandma, I'll go with you." Grandma also wanted to go. Besides, if she could earn money, it would be good to sell more snacks. However, she was still a little hesitant. It will be very tiring. Although Grandma was old, she could still tell that Tang Bao, this little customer, had never done any work before. His hands were as tender as scallions. "And I think it's very interesting." Under Tang Bao's insistence. On the same day, the two of them pushed the cart. While Tang Bao was walking, he thought to himself that he should have gained more experience. Otherwise, if he didn't know anything in the future, how would he be able to eat the northwest wind? When she was alone outside, how could she have a castle to shelter her from the wind and rain? She had to do everything herself. If she couldn't even endure this little hardship, what was the use of her? When they arrived at the town, Tang Bao was almost half dead. However, when they finally saw the town, Tang Bao felt that all her hard work was worth it. The town looked a little like an ancient town. Perhaps it was because it was a tourist attraction. There were many stalls. There were all kinds of strange trinkets. Tang Bao looked at Grandma and smiled. She asked, "Grandma, how long has it been since you came to the town?" "I haven't been here for 2 years. You've changed a lot." Tang Bao thought that Grandma definitely couldn't come here alone. In the future, when she got older and couldn't walk, she wouldn't come here. Moreover, he heard that it was easy for her to get lost when she was old. It would be bad if she got lost. Tang Bao felt that bringing Grandma to the town was the right choice. "Then we'll come here every day to set up a stall," Tang Bao said. "You like it too?" "Yes. I like it very much." The two of them quickly found a corner to set up a stall. Because it was a fresh stall and Grandma's cooking. Soon, people came up to buy egg pancakes and even other snacks. Tang Bao only needed to collect money at the side. Because cooking was Grandma's specialty. She couldn't do it. For the first time, Tang Bao felt the thrill of doing business. Especially when collecting money, the sense of accomplishment was indescribable. While the business here was in full swing, a few young men approached. Some of them had sticks in their hands and shouted as they walked. It seemed like they were collecting protection money. The sticks pushed away the customers in front of the stall. When the customers saw that these people were not to be trifled with, They scattered and didn't even want the snack. Grandma and Tang Bao looked at these young men nervously. They didn't know what they were going to do. They were unfamiliar with this place and didn't want to offend anyone. Who allowed you to set up a stall here? Did you ask for our permission? The leader of the group was a dark-skinned man. When he spoke, his nose was in the air. I'm sorry, big brother. We're just running a small business. Tang Bao immediately explained. Don't you need our permission for a small business? He was interrupted. The stick in the man's hand banged on the lid of the pot. He was very arrogant. Tang Bao looked at these young men and asked, Are you the city enforcement officers here? Why aren't the city enforcement officers wearing uniforms? Who cares about the city enforcement officers? In this village we call the shots. Tang Bao saw that they were not to be trifled with. They didn't even care about the city enforcement officers. He could only say, Then we won't set up a stall. Sorry, we'll leave now. Tang Bao said as she packed up. However, a stick fell on her arm, indicating that she shouldn't move. Tang Bao was stunned and didn't move. He didn't know what they were going to do. What's wrong? You've been setting up a stall for so long. Don't you need to pay protection money? Tang Bao lowered his head and looked at the lunchbox in his hand. He then looked at those people and understood that they were here to collect protection money. How much do you want? Tang Bao asked. We want all of it, including the money on you. But we've just been here for a while, and we've only sold a few dozen yuan. Isn't the protection money too expensive? Tang Bao's expression didn't look too good. What was the difference between this and robbery? So what? Ask the people setting up stalls here. Who doesn't pay? Who doesn't dare to pay? The leader pointed at the other stalls with a stick and said. Tang Bao looked over and saw that the others didn't dare to say a word. With Tang Bao's personality, he would have already thrown a brick at them. However, she had to face 6 or 7 people. Grandma was beside her. She couldn't handle it at all. But if you really don't want to pay, it's not like there's no other way. What way? Tang Bao looked at the man's suddenly disgusted eyes and asked defensively. Call me Big Brother. Big Brother. Chapter 393. I called you that. That should be enough, right? Tang Bao asked. The man did not expect her to call him that so readily. Instead, he was stunned. She was too spineless, wasn't she? The man thought of the last time he asked a woman to call him brother. She refused even when he tried to persuade her. The girl in front of him, who looked like a young girl, piqued his interest. Tang Bao thought to himself, spineless? At this time, she did not even know what spinelessness was. Since you called me brother, as your brother, I have to return the favor. How about this, come eat with me. I'll take you to eat delicious food. Grandma could tell that these people were up to no good. She was afraid that Tang Bao would be taken advantage of, so she quickly said, I'm sorry, everyone. My granddaughter doesn't know anything. Can you let us go? You can take all the money. We don't want it. I don't want it anymore. Don't know anything? It's fine as long as you know how to play, the other men said hooligantically. Tang Bao did not want to play with them. He did not want to be entangled with them. It was just a few dollars. Tang Bao gave them the money in the metal box and the cell phone on him. We only have this much money. There's nothing else, Tang Bao said. The man wanted money and the cell phone. However, when he saw the broken screen on the cell phone, he asked, This is worth money too? Only one screen is broken. The rest are fine, Tang Bao said. The man in the lead was still wondering if this was fake when a man next to him stretched his head over and said in surprise, Boss, this cell phone is worth a lot. How do you know? I only saw it on the news occasionally. Ordinary people can't afford this kind of cell phone. The man looked at Tang Bao in confusion. How could a stall owner have such an expensive cell phone? Well, if you don't believe me, you can go to the cell phone store and ask if it's worth a lot, Tang Bao said. If we go, you'll run away? Let me tell you, little girl. I have my eyes on you. You can't run away. The man was lustful from the moment he saw Tang Bao. He had never seen such a beautiful girl in this town. If you're worried, leave 2 people here to watch over us. We can't run away even if we want to. Tang Bao said with a sweet smile on her face. If I follow you, you'll be able to take care of Grandma and me in the future. This is also a good thing. Alright, I guess you won't be able to pull any tricks anyway. The leader of the group went to the mobile phone store with his underlings, leaving 2 of his underlings to look after Tang Bao and Grandma. Grandma was so scared that she pulled Tang Bao's hand and whispered, "You run first, I'll stop them. Anyway, I'm just an old woman. They won't do anything to me." Tang Bao was very touched. She was so sincere to a stranger. "Grandma, don't worry. If we're leaving, we'll leave together. But how do we get there? I have an idea." Tang Bao looked in the direction of the mobile phone store and said in surprise, "Ah, they're here so soon?" The 2 lackeys turned their heads and looked over. Tang Bao raised the brick in his hand and knocked one of them unconscious. The other wanted to turn around, but the brick hit his forehead. His eyes rolled back and he fainted. Grandma looked at the 2 people who had fainted in surprise and did not come back to her senses. Tang Bao hurriedly packed up. "Grandma, hurry up, we have to run. Otherwise they'll be back soon." Grandma came back to her senses and immediately packed up. When the leader and his underlings came over happily, they only saw the unconscious underlings on the ground and the stall that had long disappeared. He was so angry that he kicked the person on the ground and woke him up directly. "Damn it, where are they?" The 2 of them got up from the ground, still dizzy. "Boss, we were knocked unconscious, and they ran away. 2 people, 1 old and 1 weak, and yet you let them run away. What's the use of you?" The boss slapped them. However, the underlings did not dare to be angry or say anything. The few of them went to the best restaurant in town to eat while cursing. They sat down in the hall. The boss was there, rubbing his chin and looking at his mobile phone. There was a scheming look in his eyes. The underling next to him comforted him. "Boss, calm down. This mobile phone is worth a lot of money, and that girl didn't lie. You don't know, but our boss is attracted to beauty," another underling said, gritting his yellow teeth. The boss put on his airs and said, "Humph, with this mobile phone, I don't believe that girl can run away." "Boss, what do you mean?" "As long as someone calls, I'll answer it. Then, I can ask for the girl's address, and I can go to her personally." The boss's eyes shone with a wretched light, as if he was imagining the exciting scene of him going to the girl's door to bully her. Di Haotian called Tang Bao every day. He would call him almost every few minutes, and every time, the phone was turned off. He did not expect that the call would go through this time. Di Haotian's heart suddenly tightened. He answered the call, and his voice was low and deep, as if he was suppressing his emotions. "Where are you?" The boss was shocked by the low voice. He could not see the caller on the screen, and he did not know who it was. He did not know why he was shocked when he heard the voice. What was there to be scared of? Only other people were scared of him. So he cleared his throat and said, "Are you a friend of the owner of this mobile phone?" Di Haotian's sharp black eyes darkened. "Who are you?" "It's like this, I'm a friend of this mobile phone. She dropped her mobile phone with me, and I want to send it to her. But I don't know where she lives. Do you know? I'm sending her a mobile phone." After the boss finished speaking, the underling next to him gave him a thumbs up. Di Haotian did not change his expression. "Where are you now?" "It's a village. It's not too far from where she lives, so there's no need to trouble you. I'll send it to her personally." "You should know where she lives, right?" "Yes." "Then tell me the address." After Di Haotian told him the address, his eyes were cold and emotionless. After the boss put down the phone, he had a thoughtful look on his face. "Boss, what's wrong?" the underling asked. "The address is a little far. But it doesn't matter. If I can get the little beauty, it doesn't matter if it's a little far." That's right. Boss, when you're done, it's our turn to have some fun." The underlings had a wretched look on their faces. No. I'm going to develop that beauty into a long-term girlfriend. Stop nagging. Boss, why are you different this time? In the past, you would let us play with anything that you've played with. I think the boss is moved. Boss, don't tell me you're thinking of marrying someone else. The boss was not angry at being teased. Instead, he was happy. Then he asked, I'm sending the mobile phone over. Should I buy a gift? I don't want to scare her. Boss, girls love roses the most. Roses represent love. Okay, let's do that. Chapter 394. His sincerity could also be seen. When the time came, she would be touched and throw herself into his arms. Boss had a beautiful plan. The van found the place according to the address. Boss, it's here. The underling said. But why is she staying in a hotel? Does she want to get a room with Boss? I didn't expect to get a room like that. Boss, you're in luck. The underling said enviously. Follow me. Boss was ecstatic. He couldn't wait to kiss his little beauty. He waved his hand and entered the hotel. They went up the stairs to the floor and found the room door. There were a few strong men in black standing at the door. The few of them looked at them with uncertainty, and the boss felt even weirder, because the aura of the men in black was somewhat unfriendly. At this time, Jew walked forward. Looking for the owner of the phone? You're the one who answered the phone? Boss asked. The person you're looking for is waiting for you in the room, Jew said. The underling next to him whispered, Boss, is there a trap? If it was an ordinary person who saw this unusual atmosphere, they would definitely turn around and leave. However, this boss was used to calling the shots in G Village. Even the director had to give him some face, so he wasn't afraid. What are you afraid of? No one dares to provoke me, Hey Lao-san. Boss said and was about to enter the room. Jew stopped the underling behind him. Only one person is allowed in. Why? We came with Boss. Of course we'll go in together. The underling was unhappy. Boss didn't care and said, You guys wait outside. Since Boss said so, they could only obey. After Hey Lao-san entered the room, he shivered from the cold air inside. It was as if he didn't enter a room, but an ice cellar. After entering, he saw the man sitting on the sofa. He was wearing a black suit and had a deep aura. The way he sat there without moving was very creepy. Didn't you say that the owner of the phone is here? I'm here to deliver the phone. Even though Hey Lao-san was unhappy because he didn't see Tang Bao, he was shocked by the strong aura and didn't dare to show his anger. Di Haotian looked up. His sharp gaze seemed to be able to pierce people's eyeballs. Looking at Hey Lao-san, his thin lips slightly opened. She dropped her phone here? Yeah, that's why I'm giving her a phone. Hearing this low voice, Hey Lao-san also recognized that the person who answered the phone was the man in front of him. His awe-inspiring aura made people not dare to act rashly. The look in Di Haotian's eyes changed and became frighteningly sharp. Jew walked in from outside and lifted his foot to kick Hey Lao-san's leg socket. Hey Lao-san knelt on the ground in pain. He couldn't stand up. His legs seemed to be broken. He endured the pain and shouted, You dare to attack me? Do you know who I am? Do you want to die? Hey Lao-san screamed again. Jew stepped on Hey Lao-san's ankle. He almost crushed it under his foot. Hey Lao-san was in so much pain that the black skin on his face almost turned white. Large beads of sweat dripped down. Take out your phone, Jew said. Hey Lao-san's heart was filled with hatred. Were the underlings outside deaf? Didn't they hear his scream? However, Hey Lao-san didn't know that Jew had already dealt with all his underlings before he came in. Dealing with people like that was as easy as stepping on ant. I didn't bring it with me. There was another heart-wrenching scream. This time, he was afraid that his bones were really broken. If you want to be unable to stand up in the future, I will definitely help you, Jew said. I have, it's on me. He Lao San didn't dare to be arrogant. This was the first time he admitted defeat. He had always been insufferably arrogant when he bullied ordinary people. Take it out, He Ju ordered. He Lao San trembled as he took out the phone from his body. The moment he took it out, Di Haotian's black eyes trembled slightly, with ripples of deep emotion. He Ju naturally knew that this was Tang Bao's phone. He took the phone and handed it to Di Haotian. Di Haotian held the phone in his hand and stroked the fine cracks on the screen with his fingertip. It was as if those cracks were copied on his heart and were difficult to heal. How did you get this phone? Di Haotian asked. If you don't tell me the truth, I will make your life worse than death. Di Haotian looked at He Lao San fiercely, as if he was looking at a dead man. He Lao San had never seen such a look and was scared out of his wits. He could only say she set up a stall in the town with an old woman. I went to collect protection money. She didn't have any money, so she used her phone as collateral. She's still there? Di Haotian's black eyes moved slightly. No, she ran away a long time ago. Di Haotian's eyes were so deep that it chilled people's hearts. But in an instant, he said, "Take me to the stall." After saying that, he stood up and walked out of the room. He Ju directly picked up He Lao San. He Lao San was limping and could only be dragged along. After going out, he directly threw himself into the bodyguard's car. He Lao San was stunned that he didn't see his subordinates. However, looking at the unfriendly and cold men in black, He Lao San felt that even if his subordinates were here, they wouldn't be able to do anything. Moreover, it wasn't that he didn't know that his subordinates might be even more miserable than him. They must have been killed. He Lao San was terrified. Who on earth did he offend? Following the route, they arrived at a village and arrived at a street corner. The place where Tang Bao and Grandma had set up their stall. However, it was still empty. No one had set up a stall there. He Lao San pointed and said, "It's here." Di Haotian looked at the empty spot and felt as if his chest was empty. He looked around there and paced back and forth twice. He didn't see anyone. There wasn't even a surveillance camera in this place. There was no way to find her. Di Haotian's face was frighteningly dark. He turned around and kicked He Lao San in the chest. He Lao San spat out a big mouthful of blood and lay on the ground. Di Haotian stepped on He Lao San's face and looked down at him with a sinister look. "Did you get my permission to touch her?" "I didn't touch her. She ran away." He Lao San defended himself. "If you didn't touch her, she would have run away." Di Haotian stomped down hard. Everyone could hear the sound of his jaw being dislocated. He Lao San wailed and couldn't speak. When the people at the other stalls saw this, they felt relieved. They had been bullied by He Lao San for a long time. No one had ever dared to go against He Lao San. Chapter 395. He Ju walked in front of Di Haotian and said, "Young master, young madam did set up a stall here with an old woman. She looked unfamiliar, so she shouldn't be from this town. Those people said that young madam had just come to set up a stall when she met someone who wanted to collect protection money. They even wanted to snatch young madam back. Young madam had no choice but to give them the phone. When they went to the phone store, young madam knocked out the 2 guards with a brick and took the opportunity to run away with the old woman. There was no doubt that it was definitely the Tang Bao. However, when Di Haotian heard how Tang Bao was bullied here, his face was as cold as the devil's. He didn't even look at He Lao San, who was lying on the ground like a dead dog, and said, "Deal with it." "Yes." He Ju ordered his men to drag He Lao San away. The others didn't know how to deal with it. However, they didn't have to worry. This group of people wouldn't appear again to collect protection money. The clue ended here. However, this was also hope. The fact that Tang Bao could appear here meant that his residence shouldn't be too far away. With this village as the center, they would spread out to look for him. As for the stall, Tang Bao, who had been scared away, wouldn't come back to set up a stall. At night, Tang Bao and Grandma were busy with dinner. "Grandma, I'm sorry. If I hadn't suggested going to town to sell snacks, today's incident wouldn't have happened. I've already handed over the money," Tang Bao said apologetically. "But I agreed to it. And you were kind. I was also willing to try doing business. No one knew that such a thing would happen. It's a pity that your phone was taken away by someone else. It's very expensive, right?" Grandma asked. She had heard those people say that it was very expensive and that ordinary people couldn't afford it. No matter how expensive it is, it's just a worldly possession. "I'm afraid of scaring you." It really did scare me. If you weren't quick-witted, you would have been at a disadvantage. In this world, there are also things that the law can't control, Grandma said helplessly. Tang Bao was even more clear in his heart. Especially after marrying Di Haotian, power and influence were scarier than anything else. One sentence could ruin a person's life. "Then let's set up a stall in a tourist area." "All right. I'm not going to town." Tang Bao felt guilty. He clearly had good intentions, but in the end, such a thing happened. Hopefully, those people wouldn't find this place. Otherwise, wouldn't she be harming Grandma? The next morning, Tang Bao went to the courtyard to feed the chickens. The chicken was excited when it saw her. Although he was aiming for the food in her hand, Tang Bao still smiled at the sight of him. "Sister Chicken, don't worry, I won't eat you. However, if Grandma eats you, you have to be mentally prepared," Tang Bao said as he fed her. The old hen immediately crowed twice and raised its head. "Haha, do you understand what I'm saying? Alright, I'm just kidding. I won't eat you." After Tang Bao finished speaking, the hen lowered its head again to peck at the food. Seeing this, Tang Bao's playfulness was aroused. For the past 2 days, Grandma didn't go to set up a stall. She was at home preparing food for the new year. Tang Bao didn't go out either. However, she wandered around. There were mountains, dry mountains, water, and ice. Tang Bao stood by the huge lake and looked at the thick ice. She wondered how it felt to step on it. Tang Bao had never seen ice like this. She didn't have the chance to see it in D-City. Tang Bao first took a brick and smashed it on the ice. The ice didn't move at all. There wasn't even a crack. Then, she could go up and slide. As Tang Bao spoke, she really stepped on it. First, it was 1 foot, then 2 feet. His entire weight was added to it. She realized that it was fine. So, her 2 feet moved around on the ice. First, it was frozen. Then, there was snow on it. It felt very interesting. Tang Bao trotted forward. When she stopped, her feet slipped. Ha ha ha. Tang Bao was having a lot of fun. However, she wasn't familiar with it. She slipped and fell on the ice. Ah! Tang Bao fell on the ice. She was wearing a lot of clothes, so it didn't hurt much. She got up again and continued to slide. Di Haotian's people had already found the tourist area. However, there were many villages near the tourist area. They still needed to search inch by inch. Di Haotian's mood was no longer the usual irritable. He was deeply suppressing it. The closer it was to the new year, the more painful it was to suppress it. And there was only 1 day left until the new year. Ju and the others were already very fast. In fact, if it weren't for the phone, they wouldn't have been able to locate the area so quickly. They knew that they would definitely find it if they searched in the area. It was just that they were in a hurry. Ordinary people couldn't tell Di Haotian's emotions from his appearance. However, Ju could already clearly feel that Di Haotian was about to break down. And it could be seen that Di Haotian didn't plan to go back for the new year at all. He would rather look for Tang Bao outside. He wouldn't give up until he found it. "Grandma, it's the new year tomorrow." "I'm very happy," Tang Bao said. In fact, she could already tell that none of her grandma's family members would come back. Grandma said that her children were busy and that it didn't matter. But which parent in the world didn't miss their children? She was just hiding it. Just like Tang Bao, she really wouldn't think of Wan Malay, Di Haotian, or even her parents at all. She would think of them because she had no choice. It was similar to her grandma. Tang Bao thought that they were in the same boat. That was why they met. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve. We'll go to the Buddhist temple in the tourist area to burn incense and pray for blessings. Then, we'll come back for New Year's Eve dinner. Ah? Is this a custom here? Yes, burn incense and pray for blessings. May your new year go smoothly. When the time comes, you can also burn incense and pray for blessings. May your wishes come true, Grandma said with a smile. Tang Bao felt that this was quite novel. Therefore, on New Year's Eve, they prepared to leave for the Buddhist temple in the tourist area early in the morning. Grandma, why do we have to go so early? The New Year's Eve dinner is at night anyway. There are many people. We have to go early. Tang Bao thought to himself, even if there are many people, there's no need to go now, right? However, after arriving, Tang Bao felt that what his grandma said made sense. The tourist area that used to be cold and empty was suddenly filled with people. There were people everywhere. People bumped into each other, holding incense in their hands as they headed to the Buddhist temple. Oh my God, if it was his turn, wouldn't it be at night? Grandma, if we set up a stall here, do you think we can make a lot of money? Tang Bao said jokingly. It's the new year. No stalls. Ha 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 ha, yes, no stalls. The two of them queued for a long time to buy incense. When they bought it, Tang Bao felt that his legs were about to break. However, he couldn't rest. He still had to go to the Buddhist temple on the mountain and climb the stairs. Tang Bao realized that his grandma's legs were even stronger than his. How embarrassing! Chapter 396. Di Haotian stood in the crowd and did not care about the occasional collision. His sharp black eyes anxiously searched every face in the tourist area. He thought that the next face would be the one he thought about day and night. Oh my God, we're finally here, Tang Bao said, panting. Why don't you rest for a while? No, I'll rest after burning the incense. After burning the incense, go to the transfer wheel and touch it 3 times. Grandma pointed to the other side. That? Yes. When you touch it, think about what you want to achieve. Tang Bao felt that Grandma was really superstitious. However, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. In the past, she would rather believe that such things were true. There was another person who was as superstitious as Grandma, and that was Yu Songhuan. She did not know how Yu Songhuan spent New Year's. She heard that he would also burn incense and pray for blessings during the new year. Tang Bao shook off the people in her mind and went to line up with Grandma to burn incense. Di Haotian spent the whole morning looking for Tang Bao in the crowd. Then, when he looked at the incense burner in the Buddhist temple, his black eyes suddenly froze. He stared at the back view through the crowd. It was as if she would disappear in the blink of an eye. Although it was only her back view, it was deeply engraved in his heart. He Ju also noticed the change in Di Haotian. He looked over and saw Tang Bao turn around, revealing that familiar little face with a smile on her face. He could not help but be stunned. It's young madam. He finally found her. She was really here to burn incense. Tang Bao did not notice that she was being searched and stared at all. She walked out of the temple with Grandma and walked toward the transfer wheel. After the people in front of her were done, she let Grandma do it. After Grandma finished touching Tang Bao, she put her hand on it. The first circle was to protect herself and make her wishes come true. The second circle was to bless her friends and make everything go well. The third circle. Tang Bao paused as she thought of Di Haotian. Was she praying for Di Haotian? She was just passing by, wasn't she? Anyway, there were a total of 3 laps. If she didn't pray for him, she couldn't think of anyone else. However, just as she was feeling conflicted, someone blocked her path. A pair of long legs appeared in his line of sight. Tang Bao was stunned for a moment and instinctively looked up. However, when Tang Bao met that pair of familiar sharp eyes, he almost forgot to react. Was this someone who looked like Di Haotian, or was she hallucinating? However, Di Haotian's aura was so strong that no one could ignore it. And that pair of black eyes. After Tang Bao came back to his senses, he turned around and was about to run. However, in the next second she was pulled over. Tang Bao froze in shock. It was as if she would run away if he loosened his grip. "I've finally found you." Di Haotian's deep, hoarse voice came from above her head. It made Tang Bao a little dizzy. Had Di Haotian been looking for her all this time? Why didn't he give her any freedom? Did he have to force her step by step? "Let go of me." Tang Bao struggled twice, but she couldn't open her eyes. She could only persuade him with words. "Are you still going to run?" Di Haotian asked. Tang Bao wanted to say run. However, if she said that, would Di Haotian not let go of her? This was a solemn Buddhist temple. If they hugged each other like this, it would attract the attention of others. "I won't run." Tang Bao had no choice but to say. "You can't run away," Di Haotian said, and then let go of her. As soon as Tang Bao was free, she took 2 steps back and looked at Di Haotian warily. "If you have anything to say, let's talk after we leave this place." After that, she turned around to look for Grandma. Then, she pulled Grandma, who was blocked by Hiju, and walked down the stairs. Grandma asked in a low voice, "Are they those people who collect protection fees?" Tang Bao didn't want to scare Grandma, so she said, "No, they're people I know." "Someone who likes you?" Tang Bao was stunned. She didn't want to turn around to look at Di Haotian, who was following closely behind her, and said, "No." Grandma didn't ask any more questions. They went all the way to the empty space at the bottom. Then, Tang Bao directly pulled Di Haotian to the other side. When they reached the other side, Tang Bao was about to let go, but Di Haotian held her hand back. "Let go," Tang Bao said. Di Haotian looked at her flustered and exasperated little face, which was a little red in the cold wind. The truth was brewing in his heart again, causing his heart to constrict. He couldn't say anything. He just stared at Tang Bao. It turned out that this was the expression on Tang Bao's face when he was trying to hide the truth. He exerted a little force in his arm and pulled Tang Bao in front of him. Di Haotian still didn't say anything. Tang Bao was stunned. Her eyes were full of confusion and surprise. How could Di Haotian be so sudden in a place where people were coming and going? When Tang Bao came to her senses, she wanted to push Di Haotian away. However, Di Haotian's strength was not something that she could resist. After being separated for such a long time, he wanted to put her in his heart so that he could feel at ease. Tang Bao said angrily, "Are you sick?" Di Haotian's black eyes opened slightly, and the light in them was very deep. At such a close distance, Tang Bao couldn't help but blink her eyes. "I'm sick, and it's very serious. Only you can treat me." Di Haotian's voice was low and hoarse, and his black eyes stared at Tang Bao without blinking. Tang Bao felt her heart tremble. However, she still tried hard to keep herself awake. She turned her face to the side and said, "Didn't I tell you on the phone that I would go back after the new year? If you come here like this, you'll only make me unhappy." The consequences of being unhappy during the new year were very serious. Moreover, what made Tang Bao unable to come back to her senses until now was how Di Haotian could find her here. Transportation here was inconvenient, and there was no signal. How could he be so resourceful? Chapter 397. When Tang Bao heard that, she frowned slightly and looked at Di Haotian. "It's none of my business how you celebrate the new year. Anyway, I won't go back. I'll celebrate the new year here." "Are you sure you want to celebrate the new year here?" Di Haotian asked. Tang Bao was shocked. "Di Haotian, you can't force me. This is my freedom." Di Haotian looked at the old woman not far away. "You're celebrating the new year at her house? Is there a problem? Anyway, Grandma's children won't come back. It's not inconvenient for me to celebrate the new year here. Grandma is very happy. So, Di Haotian, you should go back. I promised you that I would go back for the new year." Tang Bao did not know why Di Haotian was in such a hurry to find her. Was that necessary? Or had his dominance reached the point of being twisted? Just as Tang Bao was lost in thought, she felt a cold sensation on her ring finger. She looked down and saw the pink diamond that she had taken off. She put it on again. Di Haotian, you. Tang Bao did not know whether she should be helpless or angry. How many times have I told you? You can't take off the ring. You're always going against me. Maybe it's time for me to make you stop this habit. Di Haotian's face was a little gloomy. You still have the nerve to talk about me. What did you do to the ring? I can't take it off no matter what. Tang Bao was furious when she thought of this. She had not settled the score with him yet. Was he going to threaten her? So, I'm going to find a way to make it impossible for you to take it off forever. Di Haotian stared at her with his unfathomable black eyes. Tang Bao knew the look in his eyes. She also understood the dominance of Di Haotian's devil. However, she did not understand why Di Haotian was doing this. She had already mentally prepared herself. When she went back, if Di Haotian wanted a divorce, she would accept it. Why did he have to put the ring on her again? Every time he put the ring on her finger, she was in a trance. It was like a wedding again. She must have been overthinking things to the point that her brain was in a mess. Let's go. Di Haotian dragged Tang Bao into the car. Di Haotian, I won't go back with you. Tang Bao struggled. He was so angry that tears welled up in his eyes. But he was still dragged into the car. Di Haotian looked at her aggrieved tears, reached out to wipe away the tears on her face, and gently coaxed, What are you crying for? I don't want to go back. Don't you understand? Tang Bao sobbed. I'll send you there. Di Haotian looked at her gently, his eyes filled with deep affection. Tang Bao was stunned. Where are you sending me? Where you want to go? Grandma's house? Yes. Tang Bao looked out of the car window and saw her grandmother being invited into the car behind. She was stunned. There was also disbelief. Di Haotian, you? Tang Bao was at a loss for words. Then we'll spend the new year here. Di Haotian's compromise made Tang Bao's little mouth move, but she still didn't say anything. Anyway, as long as Di Haotian didn't let her go back, it was fine. She even thought about the meaning of Di Haotian's appearance here. Was it just to send her back to her grandmother's house, and then go back to D City? Was it just to determine where she was so that he could control her whereabouts? Tang Bao didn't say anything. Di Haotian's pair of black eyes stared at her little face. Tang Bao felt that the gaze on her face was so strong. Tang Bao couldn't break free. No, I can sit next to you. However, Tang Bao's struggle was useless. Di Haotian hugged her tightly, then buried his face in her neck and didn't move. Tang Bao's body suddenly froze. This made Tang Bao confused. What was Di Haotian doing? It was so intimate, but it also seemed like he was relying on her. Did she misunderstand? This was the first time Tang Bao was treated like this. So, she must have misunderstood. Di Haotian was so powerful. How could he do such a thing? However, despite Tang Bao's thoughts, he did not move. She really wanted to ask Di Haotian if he could let go of her. She really wanted to ask Di Haotian why he was hugging her like this and burying his face in her neck. Did he not want Lan Wanru anymore? Or did he not care about the abortion? Tang Bao didn't understand. She also couldn't understand Di Haotian. Her body was stiff as Di Haotian hugged her. They arrived at Grandma's house. Tang Bao got out of the car. Di Haotian also got out of the car. Tang Bao looked at him and said, You can go back. I'm already home. Although this was not her home, she had been living here recently and treated this place as her home. Di Haotian didn't say anything. After Grandma entered the house, he also followed in. Tang Bao wanted to stop him. Di Haotian, however, Di Haotian walked inside as if he didn't hear her call him. Tang Bao hurriedly chased after him. Di Haotian, what are you doing? I'm looking at where you've been living recently. After Di Haotian entered, the house became small. There was no trace of Di Haotian's natural aura. Grandma looked at Di Haotian a little awkwardly and then looked at Tang Bao. Tang Bao could only smile at Grandma to appease her. There was no other way. She couldn't control Di Haotian. Di Haotian looked around the house, looked at Grandma and asked, "I'm Tang Bao's husband. Can I stay here too?" Tang Bao was stunned when he heard Grandma nodding. Yes. Tang Bao was unhappy. He went forward and refused. "You can't stay here." "Why?" Because there are no more rooms." "I'll sleep with you," Di Haotian said casually. However, Tang Bao felt as if a huge rock had been smashed into the lake in his heart, stirring up huge wave. He went forward and dragged Di Haotian out of the house. When they were outside, "Di Haotian, what are you trying to do? It's the new year. Why aren't you going back? What are you doing here?" Tang Bao didn't know what Di Haotian was trying to do. Even if he didn't need to spend the new year with Lan Wanru, what about Yu Songhuan? That was his biological mother. Why didn't his son spend the new year with his biological mother? Why did he come to such a remote village? "I'm spending the new year here," Di Haotian said. Tang Bao gritted his teeth and stared at Di Haotian. "You don't want to stay in the castle, but you want to spend the new year here? I'll be wherever you are." Chapter 398. Di Haotian stared at Tang Bao with his dark eyes. Tang Bao did not feel that there was anything wrong with her question, but under Di Haotian's stare, she lowered her gaze. "Do you want to stay here alone?" Di Haotian asked after a while. "Yes." Tang Bao felt that her head was buzzing when she answered this question. She had come out alone to celebrate the new year alone. Now that Di Haotian asked her this question, she would certainly answer in this way. Di Haotian's dark eyes were as calm as a lake. In a flash, he reached out his big hand and covered Tang Bao's small head directly, moving it in front of him in a domineering posture. Tang Bao looked at Di Haotian with the heavy weight on her head. "I went through so much trouble to find you, not to let you celebrate the new year alone. Fortunately, I made it in time." Tang Bao looked at Di Haotian's dark eyes, which occupied her entire body, and her heart was beating wildly. She did not understand why Di Haotian would say such a thing. It was as if he went through so much trouble to find her because he really did not want her to celebrate the new year alone. Was that really the case? But on the phone, Di Haotian sounded as if he wanted to skin her alive. Why did he have a 180-degree change now? Tang Bao wanted to ask the doubts in her heart, but in the end, she did not ask. At least she understood one thing. She could not change what Di Haotian wanted to do. It was not easy to find her, so how could he let her celebrate the new year alone here as she wished? Di Haotian tightened his long arms and hugged Tang Bao directly, imprisoning her in his chest. He felt the reality of Tang Bao in his arms. At first, he wanted to find her, punish her, and make her regret running out alone. Now, he just wanted to hold her like this. Tang Bao could not resist, so she could only be hugged in silence. But she resisted verbally. "I want to help Grandma cook. Ju is here." "Di Haotian, how did you find this place?" Di Haotian didn't say anything and just hugged her tightly. Tang Bao did not ask any more questions. It was not until it was time for the New Year's dinner that Tang Bao was convinced that Di Haotian was going to spend the New Year here. It felt like a dream. Spending New Year's Eve in D City would definitely be much better than spending it here, right? Delicacies and extravagant New Year's Eve dinner. A spacious and luxurious castle. But now it had become a small square table. She, Di Haotian, and her grandmother were sitting at the table. Tang Bao could not believe it. He put the food in her bowl. Tang Bao was stunned for a moment before he met Di Haotian's deep gaze. She couldn't throw the food out of her bowl in front of her grandmother, so she could only stuff it into her mouth. Di Haotian was still not satisfied and continued to give her more. It was as if his attention was on putting food in Tang Bao's bowl. Tang Bao also noticed Di Haotian's eating movements and expression. Presumably, for Di Haotian, who was born in a wealthy family, this New Year's meal was not as good as the usual food in the castle. It should be difficult for him to swallow, right? However, Tang Bao saw no disgust on Di Haotian's face. He ate quite calmly. Moreover, he ate 2 bowls of rice. Grandma looked especially happy. Di Haotian, who was so noble, was eating New Year's Eve dinner here. She was really dumbfounded. The New Year's Eve dinner left her in a state of panic. At this moment, in the bungalow, the dishes on the table had been on the table for a long time. Yu Songhuan sat on the sofa and drank tea. When he came back to his senses, he found that the tea was cold. He put it on the coffee table and did not touch it. "Old madam, it's time to eat. Otherwise the food will be cold." Aunt Wang walked over and said, "If it's cold, take it and continue to heat it up," Yu Songhuan said, looking at the door. Aunt Wang knew what Yu Songhuan was thinking. He was waiting for Di Haotian to come for New Year's Eve dinner. However, at this time, there was no sign of Di Haotian. "Don't just stand here. Go call and ask if Haotian is back." Yu Songhuan was about to lose his temper. He was very upset. "Okay, I'll go now." Aunt Wang had been calling the castle since the afternoon. However, she kept saying that Di Haotian was not back. In fact, even if she called now, there would be no different answer. However, looking at Yu Songhuan's expression at this moment, she did not have the heart to say anything more and went to make the call. After the call, she walked to Yu Songhuan's side and was momentarily speechless. However, Yu Songhuan had already seen through her. He probably won't come over. He probably hasn't found young madam yet. Yu Songhuan sneered. For a Tangbao, he didn't even have time to eat with me on New Year's Eve. This is something that would never happen in the past. Old madam, people say that the relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law is the most difficult problem to solve. Now I understand. Whether it's an ordinary family or a wealthy family, it's the same. When Yu Songhuan was young and married into the Di family, she had not experienced the relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Because Di Haotian's grandmother had passed away long ago. She did not feel that way. Now that she had become a mother-in-law, one could imagine how she felt. She was actually being played by her daughter-in-law. "Old madam, perhaps young master has found young madam, but he can't rush back in time." Then why didn't he answer the call? If he didn't come back, why didn't he even return my call? Aunt Wang was speechless. Yu Songhuan thought of something and was shocked. She asked, "Do you think Di Haotian knows that I drugged him, so he doesn't want to see me? Didn't old madam say that young madam didn't dare to tell young master?" Then it shouldn't be. I think even if young master is angry, it should be because of that photo, Aunt Wang reminded. Yu Songhuan didn't care about those photos. She was more concerned about the matter of her drugging. As long as Di Haotian didn't know about the drugging, everything else didn't matter. It was because she knew her son too well that she was so uneasy and upset. Tang Bao ate and avoided Di Haotian. He ran to the kitchen to help. "Why are you here? I don't need your help here." Grandma chased him away. As she spoke, she looked out of the kitchen from time to time. Tang Bao knew what she was looking at. "Grandma, actually, I'm already married," Tang Bao said uncomfortably. "No one would believe that he was married at such a young age, right?" Grandma didn't show any disbelief and asked, "Did the two of you have a fight?" Tang Bao nodded with a red face. "It's normal for a young couple to have a fight, but you can't run away from home just because you're unhappy. Fortunately, you met me. If you met someone else, what would you do if you met someone else and encountered what happened in Gcun village last time? But I know that you're a kind-hearted child. If it wasn't something serious, you wouldn't have run away from home. But Grandma still hopes that you can consider your own safety," Grandma advised. Chapter 399. When Grandma heard what she said, she only felt that it was cute and laughed. "Grandma, why are you laughing?" "Of course I'm laughing. Do you know how old I was when I got married?" Grandma had never talked about this before, so she could not help but be curious. How old? 16. So young? Tang Bao thought about what she was doing when she was 16 years old. She had just entered high school and did not understand biology at that age. Yes, young girls in the countryside usually get married before they're 20 years old. In Grandma's generation, it's not rare to get married at 16. However, no matter when she gets married, the girl will become someone else's, Grandma said with a smile. Tang Bao thought for a moment and said, I envy you, Grandma. At that time, it must be a very simple life. I like that kind of life. Isn't it good now? I think your other half chased you all the way here. You don't even go home. Ordinary people can't do that, Grandma advised her. She hoped that both of them would be fine. Tang Bao did not know how to tell Grandma about her. It was too complicated. Moreover, she could not open her mouth to talk about such things. Even Di Haotian did not know. Tang Bao thought of something and said, Grandma, can you make another room? Then give me another quilt. I'll tidy it up. Why do you need another room? Grandma was puzzled. For him to sleep. That won't do. How can a husband and wife sleep in separate beds? It will hurt feelings. Grandma disagreed. Tang Bao felt that only feelings could hurt feelings. If there were no feelings, how could it hurt? However, in the end, Grandma did not agree to give her another quilt, let alone make another bed for her. Tang Bao had no choice but to give up. When Tang Bao and Grandma came out of the kitchen, the sky outside was already dark. The sky in the mountains seemed to be darker than in the city. Tang Bao could tell on the first day she came here. At this moment, the villagers who had eaten their New Year's Eve dinner had already started to set off firecrackers. Crackling sounds could be heard, and it was very lively. At this moment, they heard an explosion and saw the whole sky light up. Tang Bao and Grandma were stunned. When they walked out of the house, they saw fireworks blossoming one after another in the dark sky. Each of them occupied half of the sky. The entire sky lit up. She was so beautiful that no one was willing to blink. No one here would be able to do something so extravagant. There could only be one person, Di Haotian. It even attracted the attention of the other villagers in the village, who gasped in amazement. I've never seen such beautiful fireworks before, Grandma said with joy. Tang Bao wanted to say that she had not seen it either. Even when he was in the Tang family. This was the first year of her marriage to Di Haotian. It was the first time they set off fireworks. Another firework exploded in the sky. Tang Bao saw the well-trained bodyguards standing not far away and Di Haotian's tall figure. It was so clear and imposing. Under the illumination of the fireworks, it flickered. She thought that she would be alone for the new year, but unexpectedly Di Haotian appeared. He even had a New Year's Eve dinner with her here. The New Year. This was also the first time Tang Bao spent the New Year with Di Haotian without her family. She thought that she would have nothing. Just as Tang Bao was staring at Di Haotian's silhouette in a daze, Di Haotian turned his face over. Tang Bao looked away in a panic. She looked up at the fireworks in the sky. The fireworks were beautiful, but they were also short-lived. She did not know if the peace and beauty in front of her were short-lived. For Di Haotian, the beautiful thing was not the fireworks, but the people standing under the fireworks. It made his eyes greedy. After the fireworks, Grandma went back to her room early. Tang Bao felt that Grandma did it on purpose, because she usually did not go to bed so early. When Tang Bao saw Di Haotian walking over, she quickly turned around and went to her room. After going in, she turned around and closed the door. However, a big hand was stuck in the door, preventing her from closing it. Tang Bao tried to close the door but could not. Her strength was no match for Di Haotian. Di Haotian was not angry. His dark eyes looked at her with a deep smile. Tang Bao looked uncomfortable. What do you want to do? Sleep, of course. You can sleep somewhere else. Tang Bao did not want to. There are no other rooms here. You can sleep in the car. It was not that Tang Bao was too cruel, But Di Haotian's car was more luxurious than this room. Was the condition not better? Why did he squeeze with her in this small room of dozens of square meters? Was he not afraid that he would be wronged? I can't sleep in the car. Anyway, Di Haotian was going to sleep here. Tang Bao knew that she could not resist Di Haotian's strength. She let go of her hand angrily. Then you can sleep here. I'll sleep somewhere else. After saying that, she turned around and left. Di Haotian kicked the door shut. Did you miss me? How could I miss you? Would I come here if I missed you? Tang Bao would not admit that she missed Di Haotian. Even if she occasionally thought of him, she would not admit it. Really? Tang Bao turned her face to the side. It seemed that this way the pressure was not so heavy. No. Before Tang Bao could finish her words, she heard Di Haotian say, I miss you. What did you say? Tang Bao asked in disbelief. She thought that there was something wrong with her ears. She could not believe Di Haotian's straightforward words. I've been thinking of you since the first day you left. You. What nonsense are you talking about? Tang Bao's face was hot. She was nervous as if she was being confessed to. How could Di Haotian say such words? Was it suitable? Tang Bao felt that it was not suitable at all. She and Di Haotian had been in a cold war for so long. She could not react to this sudden change. Chapter 400. You don't care about the child anymore? Tang Bao steadied her breathing and forced herself to ask the question that had been in her heart for a long time. You were also very angry when I aborted the child without permission. That was a normal reaction. What do you mean now? She was the one who was abnormal now, wasn't she? Di Haotian's deep eyes darkened. After a moment, he said in a low and hoarse voice, It's not important anymore. Not important? These were the only words in Tang Bao's mind. Why? Tang Bao herself knew how bad this matter was. Di Haotian forgave her just like that? Wasn't this a little ridiculous? I'm going to take a shower first, Di Haotian said and let go of her. If he didn't let go, his suppressed emotions would be exposed. It would be as exposed as showing his fangs. Tang Bao felt her body lighten and was stunned. When she came back to her senses, Di Haotian really went to take a shower. Tang Bao stood there in a daze. Shouldn't he let her go first? Why was Di Haotian acting so strange? She also thought that she should be glad that he didn't drag her along. Tang Bao's expression was a little uncomfortable. She sat down on the edge of the bed. When she sat down, the bed even creaked. She suspected that the bed would not be able to withstand Di Haotian's weight. At the same time, Tang Bao's face turned red when she thought of the bed in the Tang family's house. This was Grandma's house. Di Haotian wouldn't do anything to someone else's house, would he? After Di Haotian finished showering, Tang Bao went to take a shower silently. When she came back from the shower, Di Haotian was already on the bed. Tang Bao stood by the bed without moving. Come up. Di Haotian looked at her. Tang Bao looked at the bed and struggled in her heart again. Then she turned around. Di Haotian seemed to know that she would run away. He reached out and grabbed her wrist. Tang Bao couldn't escape. It was like being imprisoned in a cage with nowhere to escape. Let's stay up for the new year together. Di Haotian's deep and hoarse voice rang in her ears. Tang Bao pretended to be calm and did not move. But his body stiffened. After being separated from Di Haotian for so long, she suddenly felt a sense of unfamiliarity. It made her want to dodge. Tang Bao also did not expect Di Haotian to say that he wanted to stay up for the new year together. She thought that she would be alone. His appearance made this night seem so different. Relax? How can I relax when you're like this? I'll sit next to you. Tang Bao felt that sitting next to him was the same as staying up for the new year. If you don't relax, then go home. Di Haotian's threatening voice made Tang Bao tremble in fear. Tang Bao was left with no room to fight back. Just try to relax. Perhaps every night since the Tang Bao came here, the blanket was cold. Tonight, the temperature under the blanket was so good. It was like a furnace roasting her easily cold body. She had to admit that this temperature was not so annoying. However, Tang Bao was not so willing to compromise. After tonight, shouldn't you go back tomorrow? Go with me? Of course not. I want to stay for a while. I'll accompany you. Then what if I stay for another month? It's the same if you stay for a year. Tang Bao felt that Di Haotian did not seem to be joking. He asked, You don't care about the things in D City? What do you mean? A lot? None of them are as important as you. Di Haotian's words made Tang Bao's heart ripple, but the uneasiness in his heart was so strong. It was as if all of this was an illusion. She could not even pretend that nothing had happened what Di Haotian had done in the past. He was flirting with another woman in front of her, and had an ambiguous relationship with Lan Wanru. He turned a blind eye to her gaze. Tang Bao thought that she did not care about these things, but she found that she was not so generous and heartless. Di Haotian, you go back tomorrow. Anyway, you already know where I live now. There's no need to live here with me. I'll go back in a week at most. Tang Bao did not know who she was persuading, because Di Haotian was such a strong person. What was the use of persuading him? Sure enough. Then stay for a week. We'll go back together then. She did not say anything else. There was a window on the wall. A very small window. It was only the size of an adult. Every night, after Tang Bao turned off the lights, the moonlight would shine in from there. It was still the same now, but with the light it would be much fainter. Tang Bao thought that she was really looking forward to staying up for the new year. However, it did not take long for her long eyelashes to become very heavy. It did not take long for her to fall asleep. Even breathing could be heard. Her small face was sleeping soundly. Di Haotian's dark eyes were full of deep affection. Then he kept holding her like that, waiting for time to pass. Fortunately, he was able to make it in time and didn't leave her alone to guard it. On New Year's Eve in D City, it was very lively. It was not as quiet as the countryside. Gu Linshan was drinking and playing with the men and women he knew in the past in a private room. The men and women were having a lot of fun. Gu Linshan was enjoying it. Gu Linshan was in a good mood. Young Master Gu, do you like it? Gu Linshan said without hiding anything. So annoying. The female model laughed coquettishly, turned around, and jumped on the stage. Female models were battle-hardened. Chapter 401. She had a smile on her face. She didn't want to ruin her reputation. So, she pretended to be shy and walked away. Gu Linshan walked out of the bar when it was almost 12 o'clock. He was a little late, and the alcohol had gotten to his head. Just as he was about to get into the car, his phone rang. Gu Linshan took out his phone. He stopped in his tracks when he saw the caller ID. He picked it up. Little uncle, Happy New Year. Gu Linshan looked at the huge clock above the shop in the distance. It was exactly 12 o'clock. Why aren't you sleeping so late? Yeah, I waited until 12 o'clock to say Happy New Year to you. Little uncle, are you staying up late too? With your family? With the woman in the bar? Little uncle, you're so dirty. What did you say? Say it in front of me. Gu Linshan raised his voice, his expression sinister. Good night, little uncle. Luo Luoli quickly hung up. She couldn't bear her little uncle's anger. Her little uncle had always had an unpredictable temper. But her little uncle had really gone overboard. How could he spend such an important day with the woman there? Luo Luoli felt that she might have forgotten her little uncle's temper for a moment, and that was why she had blurted it out. She hoped that her little uncle wouldn't hold a grudge against her and wouldn't make trouble for her. After Luo Luoli hung up, there was a knock on the door. Luoli, it's time to sleep. I know. Luo Luoli put down her phone and fell asleep. She didn't even turn off the lights. Luo Luoli never liked to turn off the lights when she slept. Because she couldn't see clearly in the dark, she felt that there was something scary in the dark. She knew why she had this problem. At that time, when Chen Shuejing had snuck into her room, the lights had been turned off. If she had turned on the lights, he wouldn't have been able to touch her. The door opened. Luo Meiwan looked at Luoluoli and said, "Aren't you going to turn off the lights?" "I don't want to. It's so late. Did you call your little uncle?" Luo Meiwan asked. "Yeah, I called him at 12 o'clock sharp. He accepted it?" "What did he say?" Luoluoli didn't dare to tell the truth, so she said, "Nothing much. Little uncle was about to go to bed, so he hung up after saying Happy New Year." "Oh," Luo Meiwan said in disappointment. Although Loli Luo was young, she was also very sensitive. She could see Luo Meiwan's disappointment. She asked, "Mom, haven't you thought about going back to the Gu family to take a look? Maybe Grandpa isn't angry at all." "No need. I'm fine now. Maybe he'll feel better if he doesn't see me. I know what to do. Go to sleep. I'm going back to my room too." After that, Luo Meiwan went out. Actually, with Luoluoli's understanding of Luo Meiwan, she was unwilling to return to D-City. However, under the arrangement of her little uncle, she still came over. She lived in a house under her uncle's name. She wondered what her uncle had used to convince her mother. Her uncle would definitely go back to the Gu family for the new year. Therefore, Luoluoli spent the new year with her mother. In the morning, Luoluoli came out of the bathroom. When Luo Meiwan came out with breakfast, she frowned when she saw the makeup on Luoluoli's face. "Luoli? What? Can you get rid of the makeup on your face? Do you think it looks good on your face like this?" Luo Meiwan was frightened every day when she saw it. She suggested this mainly because she saw that Luoluoli was not as rebellious as she used to be. "Doesn't it look good?" Luoluoli asked. "It's so ugly." "So, yesterday someone asked you if this was your daughter? Didn't you say so?" Luoluoli asked with innocent eyes. "Yes." Luo Meiwan rolled her eyes and went back to the kitchen. Luoluoli felt that she was really innocent. When they were eating, Luoluoli said, "Mom, I have to go out later." "Where are you going?" "I'm going to see a friend." "Are you coming back for lunch?" "No, I'm having lunch with a friend." "Then buy something when you go. Don't go empty-handed. Do you have money on you?" Luo Meiwan was about to pay for her. Luoluoli stopped her. "No, I have money here." "Your uncle gave it to you?" Luo Meiwan hesitated and asked. "Yes." "Don't take it in the future. I have money here." "Oh, I know." Luoluoli did not mention that her uncle gave her 1,000,000 yuan pocket money. Otherwise, her mother would jump up. She could understand how Luo Meiwan felt. She did not want to take anything from the Gu family. This was a matter of pride. It was because of this pride that she did not know how to build a good relationship with the Gu family. Luoluoli bought the gift and went to find Red 7. She called on the way. "What? You're at home?" "Of course, I don't want to celebrate the new year. Beggars also have holidays, okay?" Luoluoli really did not know. It was mainly because Red 7 was a different beggar. Luoluoli looked at the gift she was carrying and felt a headache. She said on the phone, "I also bought you a gift." "Really? Then let's go out for breakfast together." Luoluoli had already eaten breakfast. However, when they were in the breakfast room, Red 7 was eating breakfast while she was drinking coffee. Looking at Red 7's appearance, she knew that she was woken up by her phone call. She looked completely different from her usual beggar appearance. Maybe it was because she had to wear new clothes for the new year. She was no different from the people eating here. "How do you know there's food here? Today is the first day of the new year." Tang Bao asked. "Is there any place in D-City that I don't know? I know this breakfast restaurant a long time ago. There are 366 days in a year, so it's open 366 days. It's harder than a beggar like me." Red 7 said with emotion. "By the way, don't you need to visit relatives?" "I don't have any relatives." "Isn't the man who owed money to him last time your youngest uncle? Aren't you going to give him New Year's greetings?" Red 7 asked. Then she said, "You have to do this well. After all, he treats you well." "I know. It's not time yet. Luo thought to herself. If her youngest uncle stayed in the Gu family all the time, she would not be able to give him New Year's greetings. Why did she say that he was not bad? Why did she say that it was like asking for a debt? That's true. Usually, the first day of the new year is a rest day, not a New Year's greeting. Red 7 said while chewing food in her mouth. Even lowly Luo felt like eating when she saw his casual attitude and the sound of chewing when he ate. Red 7 seemed to see it and asked, "Want some too? How about some? Come." By the time lowly Luo finished eating, her stomach had doubled in size. She touched her stomach and said, "I ate too much. Did you have a good time eating? If I had known, I wouldn't have eaten at home." Chapter 402. That seems to be the case. Luo smiled. Then she asked, "Do you want to have lunch together?" "No, I have to go home. Otherwise, my family will have a problem with it." "Okay." In the morning, Luo hung out with Red 7 and talked about life. When it was almost noon, they went home separately. Luo opened the door and saw Gu Linshan sitting on the sofa talking to Luo Meiwan. She was surprised. "Uncle? Why are you here? What are you talking about? Your uncle can't come?" Luo Meiwan reprimanded. Luo looked at Gu Linshan and saw that Gu Linshan was looking at her coldly. She immediately put on a welcoming smile. "Of course not. I'm just thinking that as a junior, I should give my uncle a New Year's greeting." "What's wrong?" "Oh, I know. Uncle is here to give his New Year's greetings to my mother, right?" Luo Meiwan looked embarrassed and immediately changed the topic. "Didn't you say that you wouldn't be back for lunch?" "My friend has something to do, so I came back." "Mom, don't tell me you didn't cook?" Luo asked. "It's done." Luo Meiwan looked at Gu Linshan. "Do you want to eat now?" "Yes." Luo was even more surprised. Her uncle came here for lunch on the first day of the new year? Wasn't this strange? Was he here to settle accounts with her? After all, she had called her uncle dirty last night. Luo looked at her uncle timidly. During lunch, Luo could see that her mother was a little restrained. Luo was also a little uncomfortable because of her guilty conscience. Gu Linshan, on the other hand, was eating rather calmly. Luo looked up and saw Luo Meiwan giving her a look, which meant that she shouldn't just focus on eating. "Uncle, you should eat more." Luo didn't know what to say. But it's not a bad thing to let people eat more at the dining table. Gu Linshan shot a cold glance at Luo. Luo quickly lowered her gaze. She didn't even care about her mother's gaze. After dinner, Gu Linshan was about to leave. Luo Meiwan hurriedly said, "I'll see you out?" "Let Loli do it," Gu Linshan said. Luo, who was standing at the side pretending to be a blockhead, heard her name being called. Before she could react, Luo Meiwan gave her a push. "Send little uncle off." Then Luo saw her little uncle to the door. The car was parked outside. Luo waited for her uncle to get into the car. However, her little uncle suddenly turned around and looked down at Luo. His deep figure enveloped Luo, making Luo feel as if spring had warmed her. Little uncle, what did you say about me last night?" Luo immediately pursed her lips tightly, as if she was afraid that she would blurt it out again. So her little uncle really came to settle accounts with her. She finally understood the saying, "A loose tongue can cause trouble." "Why aren't you saying anything?" Did I say anything? I didn't say anything." Lin Xiangding's face immediately lit up with a smile. "I heard from my dad that you're back. I've always wanted to come to the Gu family, but I couldn't find a suitable reason." Gu Linshan didn't say anything. He was playing with his phone in his hand. He didn't seem very interested in Lin Xiangding's words. Lin Xiangding was a little embarrassed, but she still tried to find a topic. "Will you still go back to the Middle East?" Gu Linshan didn't even look up. "Yes." Then, Gu Linshan directly answered the phone and turned to leave. Lin Xiangting choked on the words in her mouth. Lin Xiangting thought that she was a beauty. She was a great beauty in other people's eyes. However, Gu Linshan didn't look at her again after glancing at her. This made her feel a little incredulous. But after not seeing Gu Linshan for so many years, when she looked at him again, she found that she was fascinated by Gu Linshan's temperament. With Lin Xiangting's background and appearance, there were naturally many suitors. Lin Xiangting felt that she was ignored by Gu Linshan because they weren't familiar with each other. It would get better after some time. Chapter 403. Di Haotian really stayed. Tang Bao believed Di Haotian's words, but when she saw Di Haotian around her, she couldn't believe it. There was no signal here. It was as if they were isolated from the world. Tang Bao walked to the lake alone. It was as if the ice had thickened. Tang Bao stepped on it and slid out. Anyway, it was not the first time. She was very good at it. When Di Haotian found Tang Bao, he saw her having a lot of fun there alone. The ice under her feet was natural, as if it was specially made for people to slide on. Tang Bao did not notice Di Haotian staring at her from a distance. She also did not notice Di Haotian walking to the center of the lake. She lowered her head and slid there. Even though she had slid many times, there were still times when she slipped. He lost his footing and fell down. Ah! Tang Bao thought she would fall. She also knew that it would not hurt if she fell. But the human instinct was always to be frightened. In the end, she was hugged. Tang Bao raised her face in a daze. Her small face was raised. Tang Bao's heartbeat was so strong that she had to come back to her senses. Tang Bao's face was red. She did not know if it was because of the cold wind or because she was angry and embarrassed. She was so beautiful. Don't do it again. Tang Bao was angry. Why? Just because I don't say it doesn't mean that I will always tolerate you doing it. Who do you think I am? When did I abandon you? Di Haotian said. He was the one who had been abandoned, okay? Isn't that the case? Tang Bao asked angrily. She did not want to show that she cared. But it was better to clean up this kind of thing, right? Tang Bao could not accept such a thing. When Di Haotian's dark brows furrowed slightly. Tang Bao took the opportunity to break free from Di Haotian's grip and said confidently, You even brought the women back to the castle. I think it's not that simple. And you're Lan Wanru, aren't you afraid that others will be sad if you come here? Lan Wanru's health isn't too good. Don't anger him to the point that he falls ill. If that happens, you'll have sinned. It's my fault for bringing women back to the castle. Before Di Haotian could finish his sentence, Tang Bao angrily interrupted him. Do you think I can forgive you just because you said you were wrong? Don't think that this is a trivial matter. If I bring a man back to the castle, can I do the same? Di Haotian's face suddenly turned ugly. You want to find a man? I'm just talking about a metaphor. What was the main point of this person? Not even a metaphor. Tang Bao simply did not know how to communicate with such an overbearing and unreasonable person. I won't in the future. Di Haotian was a little embarrassed. He was scolded like this by a girl who had just become an adult for less than 2 years. He, the king of Imperial City, had lost all his face. However, he could not refute. He had to lower his voice and beg for forgiveness. Do you think I'll be happy if you say, I won't in the future? If everyone's mistakes are easily forgiven, it only shows that I'm too unprincipled. I have absolute tolerance for the mistakes you've made. In fact, I'm not such a generous person. I don't care what you think in your heart. In short, I won't forgive you. Bao, don't give me the wrong impression that you care about me. Tang Bao interrupted him. Do you know? When I saw you bring another woman back, and even eat with Lan Wanru in the restaurant, you acted as if you didn't see me. Do you know what I was thinking? I felt that your kindness to me in the past was like a joke. After the joke, there was nothing left. Just like you said, I can't bring a man back. However, I'm just putting myself in your shoes, and you can't accept it. Shouldn't a husband and wife be loyal? I know that I can't change you, but can't I change myself? So you're asking for a divorce? Yes. Even if I was wrong to abort the child, you can't humiliate me like this. You don't want me, but you can't treat me like that. If there are things that don't belong to me, I won't force it. For me, as long as I want something, I won't let it go. Di Haotian did not hide his dominance. Tang Bao looked at Di Haotian and felt that he was telling the truth, because Di Haotian had always been so domineering. Are you referring to me? If I really don't want you, I won't torture myself like that. Di Haotian approached Tang Bao. The closer he got, the more Tang Bao's little face looked up. In front of her, Di Haotian was very tall, so tall that she had to look up. Tang Bao's eyes were blank. Why did Di Haotian torture himself when he brought a woman back? Wasn't it to torture her? Her eyes were a little red. She didn't know why she had such a reaction. Because of the grievances she had suffered during that time, she couldn't forgive Di Haotian so easily. I think you're very scary. This was Tang Bao's evaluation of Di Haotian. I'm sorry, I know I'm not qualified to say that. Actually, if you really want to do something, I won't say anything, and I won't say anything in the future. Tang Bao turned around and walked away. What was Di Haotian's status? What was she? Di Haotian could get whatever he wanted. Why did she have to be so aggressive and question him? Tang Bao felt that Di Haotian would never belong to her from the beginning to the end. He would never belong to anyone. Since you don't care about anything, why did you say that you aborted the child without permission? Di Haotian's voice behind her was low and calm, but it exploded like a bomb. Tang Bao turned around and looked at Di Haotian. She asked in disbelief, "What did you say? Do you think you can hide it from me forever? Who told you that?" Tang Bao was shocked. Wan Milei. She couldn't think of anyone other than Wan Milei. It doesn't matter who told you. What matters is your heart. Di Haotian looked at her deeply with his dark eyes. Her heart? Tang Bao was stunned. Why didn't she know her own heart? Chapter 404. Was she concerned about the mother-son relationship between Di Haotian and Yu Songhuan? Was it because she didn't want Di Haotian to be disappointed in his familial ties? My heart. I just don't want you to be like me and regret it in the future. Because I lost my father, I'm just putting myself in your shoes. It has nothing to do with anything else, Tang Bao said indifferently as he lowered his gaze. As soon as he finished speaking, Di Haotian's men had already quickly arrived in front of her. He suppressed his voice and squeezed out 2 words from his throat, "Liar." Tang Bao was on the verge of fainting. Her consciousness was floating in the air. It took a while for her mind to clear up. Di Haotian, are you done? Tang Bao was angry. However, she looked very cute. Done? Wait for a lifetime, Di Haotian said domineeringly. You? Tang Bao was about to say something when a crystal wolf puppy appeared in front of her. It made her heart skip a beat. That was something she was very familiar with. It was the old crystal wolf puppy that Di Haotian had given her before. Perhaps there was no such accessory in the world now. When she left the castle, she deliberately didn't take it with her. She was afraid that she wouldn't be able to sleep every night when she looked at the wolf puppy. What are you doing? I won't take it, Tang Bao said. She didn't take it back then, and she wouldn't take it now. You really don't want it? He asked seductively. No, she answered firmly. So she quickly put her hand between the 2 of them. Is that enough? Not enough. I think about you every day. Tang Bao was stunned. She couldn't believe what Di Haotian said. Come to town with me in the afternoon. I want to buy something. While Tang Bao was still in shock, Di Haotian stuffed the wolf puppy into her hand and warned, "Don't throw it away." The strange feeling in her hand made her look down. The wolf puppy was lying quietly in her palm. The warmth of Di Haotian's hand still lingered on it. It was warm. Would she dare to do it now? If she threw it away, she did not know what Di Haotian would do to her again. This was the countryside, and the people here were all conservative and simple. If they were seen by the villagers, there would probably be rumors, right? Let's go. Di Haotian grabbed Tang Bao's small hand and grabbed Tang Bao's small hand, then stuffed it into his coat pocket. She felt warm, without a trace of coldness. However, Tang Bao still felt very uncomfortable and wanted to pull his hand back. However, Di Haotian's power only made it motionless. I can walk on my own. Don't pull me like that. I want to hold you like this. After getting into the car, Tang Bao was able to withdraw his hand. He sat quietly at the side and looked out of the car window indifferently without looking at Di Haotian. It was as if there were flowers outside the car window. It was impossible to ignore it. However, he still tried his best to ignore it with great patience. The last time she went to Guizhou village with her grandmother, she felt that she had walked a long way. However, she felt that she had arrived in a short time by car. As soon as he got out of the car, Tang Bao's small hand was grabbed tightly by Di Haotian again. Tang Bao's expression changed. He looked around nervously, but he really could not resist Di Haotian. He could only let him pull him like this with a red face. She thought to herself, could it be that I will run away? Even if he doesn't drive, his long legs will catch me easily. Does he have to be so stubborn? Tang Bao's expression was obviously not very good. He complained, why didn't you buy it when you passed by here? It was so troublesome to come back and buy it again. I'm not in the mood to buy anything if I can't find you. When they were in the castle, Tang Bao knew Di Haotian's habits. He would never wear the same clothes for 2 days and would change them every day. He was even cleaner than her. And now, in order to find her, he had not changed out of his clothes for 2 days. Could Tang Bao say that Di Haotian was too bigoted? The street was a little deserted. She had been here once before. Basically, there was a stall a few steps away. Now there were very few stalls. Tang Bao turned and looked over. There was a small stall that was being set up. Tang Bao knew that it was a stall that sold small wontons. The last time she and her grandmother set up a stall, they heard that the small wontons were especially delicious. At that time, she had thought that she and her grandmother would each have a bowl, but after that incident, they did not have time to eat. Do you want to eat? I don't want to eat at all. Tang Bao looked away and said disdainfully. However, Di Haotian did not say a word and walked over. Tang Bao's hand was still in Di Haotian's coat pocket. When Di Haotian went over there, she had no choice but to be dragged over. Tang Bao stood in front of the small wonton stall, pursed his lips, and did not speak. 2 bowls of small wontons? When the boss saw Di Haotian, he was stunned for a moment. Then, he looked at Tang Bao and seemed to understand something. Then, he smiled and greeted her. Okay, please wait a moment. Tang Bao felt that the boss's gaze was a little strange, but then she went to make the small wontons and did not think much of it. The boss must have seen what happened last time, so he remembered her. However, Di Haotian had even started to eat at a roadside stall? The small wontons were served very quickly. The fragrance went straight into her nose. It was very fragrant. However, Tang Bao noticed that Di Haotian did not dislike it and started to eat very naturally. Tang Bao wanted to say that when she ate at the company in the past, Di Haotian said that she ate pig food. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.